Hello everyone, welcome back to another Tomato Sauce stream. Today we've got some quite exciting news because we have both speed and rush leaks. Now, I will preface by saying the speed leaks a lot more exciting than the rush leaks. And obviously we're kind of a rush focused channel, we're a rush focused player, so there is that. But the speed leaks are really exciting. There's some really cool decks in there. I think there's a little bit of something for everyone. Like, maybe if you're, like, you only play, like, cute decks, there's not going to be something for you in there. But, like, there's Dinosaurs, there's Springans, there's some Tindangle stuff in there, there's some Yusei stuff, some Jack Atlas stuff, so we've got some of that 5Ds representation. There's a lot of cool stuff in there, and I'm personally really excited for it. Now, the rush stuff as well is Zwijo stuff, which I think Zwijo is a fan favorite. So I think this is going to be very much a, like, it's really cool leaks that might be substantial. We'll have to wait and see. Obviously, we're going to be talking about the GRF as well, because we have had, as what a lot of people have been calling tier 0, some people have been calling tier minus 1, which I don't... it's hard to specify, in my opinion, just because if you Google tier 0, you will find 6 different people giving 6 different definitions for what tier 0 is. So until like something is specifically designated, like this is exactly what it means, I always take it with like a little bit of a pinch of salt. I think one man's tier 0 is not necessarily someone else's. Some people say they have a definition and they'll give you that definition, but then other people don't accept that definition, at which point is it even relevant? But anyway, the point is, very clearly, extremely dominant deck. It's looking like it was around, you know, somewhere between 95 to 99 of the top 100 all being Gaia. So, like, it's not... everyone, whether or not we agree it's tier 0-1, tier 0, or just a solo tier 1 deck, it's insane, right? It's actually bonkers. So we will be covering all of that, as well as a few other little bits and bobs. But first things first, let's see who is in the chat. We have L9 Ray with the first. Hello, my friend. Ray absolutely going completely nuts during this GRF. Did very well. We have Ninjetti Ursus also went absolutely nuts. I can't remember, Ursus, did you get top 10 on day 1 or not? I remember you got very close. I can't remember if I saw you in top 10. I think you were like just outside of it when I looked. But very impressive, especially considering you weren't playing Gaia. So unfortunately we didn't like end up there, but still very good job doing that in the first place. We have Acceleration Gate. Where is the leakage? There will always be leaks. There will never not be leaks. That is the world that we live in. We have Dwan in the chat. So far, we know like 75 out of top 100 decks, and they are all on the Gaia skill. Yes. I think when it was 30 minutes before the end, I think it was Quantum, took print screens of all of the decks. You know, again, there was 30 minutes left, so things could have changed. But they were all on archive skills. 100 out of 100 were archive at the end. So that's probably all Gaia, but you know, heroes are a thing. There might have been a Cyber Dragon that crept in, but yeah, we won't know until all that information is consolidated. We have ICU, I4CU, no streamer riot. There will not be any riots in my chat. We have X Tempest 0, welcome on in. We have Beam, welcome on in, Beam, talking about the Tri-Brigades. I mean, Tri-Brigade, like Lyralist Tri-Brigade at the very least, was like a tier 3 deck for a bit. I don't know if it still is. There was a tier list update. We'll probably have a look at that in a minute as well. Dino meta incoming. I really hope so. I really hope that dinos do become meta. I am a dino lover. I mean, my name is Tomato Sauce, right? The sauce is Dino Sauce. I love dinos. I really wish dinos were better in Rush. Unfortunately, they're not, but this is the world we live in, so we're going to try and play them in speed. That's going to be the plan. Solid cope option, people say. The new skill doesn't seem broken. They're probably still pretty bad. Icy Gamer in the chat. Hello. Icy. Is Gaia the first tier -1? I mean, potentially. At the very least, I think it's pretty safe to say it's tier 0, in my opinion. The state of the 25-20 Duel Links Lamau. We don't even care about cards no more. Yeah, it's just the skills, right? We just need the skills to be absolutely busted. To be fair, it was decent before the Salamangreat came out. Yeah, Resonators are back. Let's go. I've never been a huge Resonator fan. I've always liked Jack Atlas. Resonators specifically has never really been something I've super gelled with. Like, I think it was Red Resonator is the one that, like, brings back a level 4 or lower from the graveyard. That's the only one that I've, like, even bothered to remember what it does. And that's because I played it in Limited, so yeah. I don't know about the new skill. The old one might be better. We'll have to have a look. I haven't read the new Resonator skill yet, I'll tell you that much. I mean, I think it's most of the new TCG structure support. That'd be good. I only read the Tri-Brigade skill so far. We have Milanesso Odo. Hello, Mila. Welcome. Welcome to the chat, my friend. Gaia getting hit. I mean, we would expect that, right? Don't worry about that. You speak for the people. Apparently so. Tier -1 is insane. What does that even mean? It's just being hyperbolic, right? It's literally just over-exaggerating how ridiculously dominant one deck is. That is literally all it is, right? Is there a deck in the top 100 that wasn't Gaia or Metarion? I think we have had a pure hero confirmed. There was also a single Pyro deck. But the guy did say in his tweet that he did actually play more Gaia, and whenever he played the Pyro deck, he was losing. So, although I believe on the spreadsheet we're going to look at in a minute, it does say there is a Pyro. I do believe there is a caveat. We'll double check that though when we do get there. I was top 30 at my peak. Ah, I see, I see. Well, still, congratulations for doing that. Like, I didn't get to top 30. I mean, I didn't try to get top 30, but I didn't get to top 30. Even when I was genuinely trying, I think I got into top 10, and this would have been back in, like, what, November or whatever, like, of 2023. I got into top 10, like, briefly, and then, like, immediately got kicked out of it. I sat around, like, low 30s throughout most of the time when I was actually trying to top, right? But by the end of it, we did fall out of top 100, so it didn't really amount to anything. And again, we couldn't play at all on the Sunday, so we just naturally fell out. But still, you know, you did better than I did, and you did probably better than I would have had I been trying. So still, massive, massive congratulations for that. From what we know so far, there isn't a single deck that wasn't playing the Gaia skill. I mean, yeah, we'll take a look at the information we have, because I believe it's Cat, which is a Korean on Twitter. I don't know what Cat actually does. I should probably find out, but they basically compile all the information into a spreadsheet. We have CZ in the chat. Hello, CZ. Welcome, welcome. Tomato, Dino, Dinosaurs. Understood. True, true. The absolute state of Rush. I thought Rush couldn't be worse than Speed. It's one of those things, though, where although... Alright, I'm not going to defend I guess I am going to kind of defend a tier 0 meta. But, alright. I'm not going to lie. If you were to tell me we're going to have a GRF and it's going to be Psychic Dragon format, or it's going to be tier 0 Gaia format, mate, give me tier 0 Gaia format any day. Dragon in the format is so boring. Games are so slow. Nothing happens. Your opponent just sits there and stalls until they OTK you. Even if you are able to sit there and stall against them, if they're playing dragons, eventually they'll hard draw into their combo and kill you anyway. It's not engaging gameplay. At least Gaia, the games are quick, right? At least in Gaia, it might be a bit coin flippy, but it's kind of coin flippy in the dragon mirror anyway, so it's... I don't know. I think, realistically, I think there were worse formats to have be in a GRF, and there are worse decks to have as the only deck in the game. Let me just, like, say that. Now, do I think it's good that there was only one deck? No. Realistically, no, right? Card games generally are about variety, right? You can choose your pet deck, you can play a different deck, you can make meta calls and bring a different deck depending on what you think is going to be really, really strong. We did see some people try and do that. We did see people bring in things like Pyro, and Pyro has had a somewhat even / slightly favorable matchup into Gaia. I'm not going to say it's a hard counter, because realistically it's not. It's like, has a slightly better win rate against it, right? It's like 55, maybe 60% if we're being generous. But realistically, Gaia is still going to win 40% of those games anyway. And if Gaia just gets the God Hand, nothing's going to stop them anyway. The flip side to that was that people worked out the main reason that you're quite good at dealing with a board that just summons 3 attack position monsters in Pyro, because the whole point of Pyro is, well, we can't beat set monsters, so not having piercing is a big negative. If your opponent just summons out 3 bosses every turn, it doesn't matter. But on the flip side, if your opponent's always summoning 3 attack position monsters, what you could do is you could put Type Change Beam in your deck and then just kill them with Gaia Metarion anyway. So people went, why would we bother playing Pyro when we could just basically do what Pyro does but better in the tier 0 deck anyway, right? So it's like, yeah, welcome back to the meta type change beam. I hate that card, and I thought it was gone, but it's back. It's back with a vengeance. So, TCB put me in my place. Thanks. Yeah, TCB as well is absolutely devastating for Pyro specifically. So the reason it's specifically bad into Pyro is because Pyro literally doesn't do anything if they're not summoning 3 monsters in attack mode, right? If you have to go defensive in Pyro, what are you doing? You can't stall out because you're not going to like draw into a combo, right? You're not going to eventually find like a multi-attacking combo. You're not going to get a direct attack in. You're not going to have a bunch of piercing and get a load of damage in. You're just going to sit there and slowly die. So you have to go wide every single game, which means your opponent means type change beam is always going to be live, just 100% of the time. So it's like, I don't know, it's a lose-lose situation. It literally takes the favorable part of Pyro and flips it on its head and now says, well, now your strength is your weakness, which is devastating for that deck. Absolutely devastating. Now, again, type change beam is good against everything, not just Pyro, but it's now taken the small advantage Pyro had and now changed it into a weakness, which is actually so bad for that deck. The top 1,111 for me. Haha. I mean, that's still pretty good. I mean, you got to remember, my speed account, I think, was top... I posted it in Discord. It was top 20,000, I think. I played one game on it. I'll just go fetch that quick. I got to 21,472nd with one win. So we got one win. We ended on just over 1,000 points. 21,472nd. So anyone that's done more than that, congratulations, you ended somewhat positive. So the Pyro guy went 22-20 with Pyro, so it doesn't count. I also played 39 games with Pyro, but I didn't mention the deck because that would feel like a lie. Yeah, it's very I don't want to say it's like disingenuous. Like, it is a little bit disingenuous, but disingenuous makes it sound like it's like deliberate misinformation. I think more it was like, I felt really proud with how I did with this deck, so I want to show off the list more than he was trying to like pull the rug over people's eyes. Because again, if you look at his tweet, he does specifically say, I did it with Gaia, every game I played on Pyro kind of went bad, right? So like, I get it, but it does feel a little bit like misinformation. It's far from worse than speed. Show games versus high variance games. Slow games versus high variance games, tough decision. I think if it was Psychic meta again, bearing in mind we've already had a GRF with Psychic meta, so like that wouldn't be particularly interesting. I think the Psychic mirror match is quite interesting. It still can be slow, but it's not, you can't go aggressive because you'll just die out of nowhere. It's a lot more methodical. It's a lot more deliberate. Every micro decision really matters. In like Dragon Mirrors, it literally feels like don't go aggressive unless you can kill. And that's just really boring. Like, it's really, really boring. Now, if that's one of the few decks in the meta and the deck can't just OTK you, because like before we got Mirror Gearstar, the Dragon deck did the exact same thing, except it didn't kill you in a single turn. It would kill you in 2 turns because a Dragearstar comes out as a 3k, it can attack twice with piercing, which means as long as you don't have 2 monsters with 0 defense, you're never going to die from that, right? You're going to take a chunk, it's going to hurt, but you're going to die on the follow-up push, which meant you always had a interaction period. Whereas with Draggy or with Mirror Gearstar F, typically you will just die in 1 hit. Now that doesn't always happen, but it can happen, and that is a issue, right? I hope Dragon gets hit so it can't fusion summon without using their whole hand. Yes, it is a very frustrating thing when your opponent sits there and they're like +5 during their turn. They'll be like Pot of Greed, Triad Drago, draw a card, then I'll use the skill and get +2. You're just like, no. How have you drawn a whole brand new hand? I've still got nothing. Like needing to shuffle cards back to add fusion and or the dragon. Yes, I would love that personally. I really want it to change just so that it doesn't, you don't get the search based on what your opponent has. Because of that restriction, you can play around it by not putting stuff in attack, and it just leads to 2 people setting monsters and staring at each other. And I think that's very uninteractive. It's very uninteresting. So I get that you want to have it kind of stand out and be its own thing, but the way it's standing out and being its own thing is really cringe. So just don't do that. Gaia Rush, hello, Baj. Welcome to the stream. Easiest decision in my life, Lamau. I hate RNG. I think, though, it goes back to... I always look at Rush as a bell curve, right? So Rush is naturally more RNG heavy than other card games, with like some caveats there, right? Because you've got like Vanguard, for example, has the trigger mechanic, and that will also make things a bit wonky. Other games can have things like getting mana screwed and stuff. Regardless, Rush is kind of like a bell curve, right? Where it's like, it's super RNG heavy until you start getting good, and then it kind of... When it's two players that are mismatched, suddenly skill becomes a lot more valuable. But then when you get to the upper ends of the bell curve again, it goes back to being very heavy RNG, because when you get to that point where both players know what they're doing, they know the deck, they know the format, they know the cards, they're not going to be making lots of misplays. Well, if both players are playing basically the same list, both players are playing without making any mistakes, RNG is going to decide the game, right? It's going to come down to what you draw, and it's going to come down to what your opponent draws. That's just how it goes, right? Who won the coin flip, right? It comes down to entirely RNG again. Unless, again, people make big mistakes, which you shouldn't be doing if you're at this end of the bell curve, right? I'm not a big fan of Tier 0, but there were way less fun formats. I played Sidra for most of the GRF and made it through round 1 and in the top 10k within half a day. Congratulations, Corey. Can't wait for Gaia to die so we can go back to, Dragon's format, I expect the skill to get hit. I expect the skill to basically, no matter how they decide to do it, make it so that you can't play Matarium with Gaia. In an ideal world, make it so you can't play Hero with Gaia either. So lock it to like Magical Knights and Dragons, or lock it to specifically Gaia, like cards with Gaia in their name, right? So it's something like, it doesn't matter what they do, lock their extra deck, right? That's what they need to do with that. That being said, I still think the Gaia deck isn't going to go anywhere. It might drop down into tier 1 with the other good decks. I don't think it's going to like disappear. The big change will be if Gaia ends up being still the strongest deck as a solo deck, there will be a lot more things you could do. The big issue we have right now is the deck can just absolutely obliterate your back row, right? You can play Ashura Star, you can play Burst Wingman, you can also play the Dragon back row hate, right? You can just destroy your opponent's back row. If you're playing pure Gaia, that now changes to just Conqueror of Champions and the Dragon back row hate, right? So like it really changes it up. We also in an ad break, so just to make sure people don't miss the yapping, we will wait until the ad break finishes before we continue on with that specific bit. People will wish Gaia back when they hit nothing else. Back to the Dragon and Matarian. I mean, it'll be... Psychic is another big one. Like, Psychic never really went away. Like, Psychic is still doing okay in Dragon Meta. Or in Dragon Meta. In Gaia Meta. It hasn't been, like, really good, right? Obviously. It hasn't been, like, winning. But, like, it's still around. It's still won a tournament, right? We'll just wait for the ads to disappear. Just to make sure. Look, we don't want anyone to miss out. Now that we have rehydrated. We still have 20 seconds of ads! I hate ads. I hate ads so much. They'll be going away in a minute. I missed day 1, stopped playing 1 hour and 50 minutes before the end, got 170th. I see that as a win. Well, congratulations, Manicist. I think it's one of those things as well, where getting top 100 is nice, but it doesn't really matter, right? You get an icon, which is nice. You get better rewards, which is nice. If you don't care about those, though, it doesn't matter, right? Like, at the end of the day, you shouldn't feel bad because you didn't do better than you wanted to. Because, again, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. You didn't get a Worlds invite. You didn't get any monetary prizing. It's fine, right? So I think you should just feel happy with how you did, right? So we got Sick. Hi to my... Hello, Duke. Welcome. Hello, Sakadetsu. Welcome. Hope you all have a great day. I hope you have a great day, Sakadetsu. I might be the one guy who likes that there aren't that many powerful traps in Rush Duel Links. I think it depends, right? I think if OTKs are a thing, if people are getting killed in just one turn, I want traps to be a thing. if people aren't dying in one turn, then having more powerful traps, I don't see as a positive. The other thing is people always misconstrue the argument, right? When people ask for more traps, they aren't necessarily saying, give me Mirror Force, give me Dark Revelation, give me Magic Cylinder, right? What they're saying is, can I have more ways to stop myself from getting killed? It doesn't really matter what those ways are. Like, if you can let me just change your monsters to defense, if I could have, like, a Book of Moon, if you could give me, like, a single attack negate, like Majesty, like, anything like that. It's just, like, I don't need to, like, wipe your board. I don't need me flip over trap, monkey flip, me win game. I just need, I don't want to die to OTKs, right? That is basically what people want when they want more traps. And I think, again, people, they get confused and they go, oh, you want Dark Revelation. You want 4 copies of Mirror Force in your deck. And it's like, I'm not necessarily saying that'd be a bad thing. It probably would be. But I'm not necessarily saying that I want 4 Dark Revelation. It is an option. It would drastically change the way the game works. Sean is raiding with 22 duelists. Hello, Sean. We did watch some of Sean's stream earlier where he was going over the leaks. Then he was climbing with Shadows. But welcome on in, Sean and friends. And Sean is subscribing for 4 months. Thank you, Sean. I really do appreciate that. How did the climb go? I got to watch some of your games. We cogged? That was so quick. Yo. That was so cool. I was expecting you to be streaming for like another few hours. I was planning to raid into you when we were done, but I mean, congratulations, I guess. I mean, I guess, is it even a congratulations moment? I feel like for you, it's always going to happen, right? You're always going to cog like 3, 4, 5 times in a month. So like, it almost feels like congratulating you feels like it's being, what's the word? It's like looking down on you because it's like implying that you weren't going to make it, where at this point it's a foregone conclusion, right? There's no way Sean isn't going to cog, right? Sean's always going to cog. That's just the Sean way. Where were we in the chat as well? Where were we? We got distracted there massively. By the way, there was someone who topped with Gaia Matarian using 0 traps. That's interesting. So I guess just all gas. We got What from Ursus. Ray says, lock it to level 7 with 2600. That is definitely a way we could do it. I'm probably in the minority that would like heroes to be able to stay with it. I like the fact that you can do that. I think Hero Gaia is really, really cool, but I think it sets a bad precedent. And I think Pure Hero is a cool deck on its own. You don't necessarily need the Gaia stuff. And I think at what point does a deck just have everything? Because if the deck has both the piercing and the back row hate, suddenly Gaia becomes really, really powerful. I think if Hero Gaia was left alive and Gaia plus Matarian died, Hero Gaia would probably just become the new best deck. Obviously, it's not as good, but it's still really, really good. Is Hero Gaia really that bad compared to Matarian? So it is, I see. So a good example of this is I played against Quantum Cubes in 2 tournaments back-to-back. And I did two in a tournament, and we played him back-to-back. Played him round 4, and then we played him in top 16. Now, the point isn't the result of that game, right? That's not the point I'm trying to get across. The point is, in those games, I felt like I could play a lot more aggressively because I knew that a Shurstar wasn't going to pop my face downs. I knew that a Vritra was not going to change my monsters to defense, and a Vritra was not going to pop my Swift Guys that I left on the field. I knew that even if I put 3 monsters in attack position, a Type Change Beam and a Shurstar combo was not going to kill me, right? So because I knew that they couldn't do those things, I could play the game drastically different. And I think that is the biggest strength of Gaia Matarian, is no matter what you do against Gaia Matarian, they can always out you, they can always OTK you, they can always get to your life points, they can always dismantle your board. Hero Gaia still can do some of that, but they can't do all of that. They're a lot more focused, right? They only pop back row. They can't change your battle positions. They can't very easily get piercing outside of the exact same way that Matarian Gaia gets it, right? So just naturally, Burst Wingman is kind of worse than a Shurstar, and we don't have Vritra. So that's kind of the big difference, in my opinion, at the very least. Worse because of Shurstar OTK without needing Beam, since they're fusion. Yeah, that's another thing, right? Is they're always going to have just a horrid matchup into the Matarian deck because of a Shurstar, right? Gaia Fusions and Dragons, because Curse of Dragon is Dragon. Gaia monsters are warriors, and they are a bad type versus Matarian. I mean, power level, not the matchup, lol. Like if they got rid of Matarian but kept Hero. Yeah, I do think that it would still be really, really good. Again, like I said, I think if Hero Gaia stuck around, but Matarian Gaia gets killed, Hero Gaia becomes the best deck. I don't think it would be as dominant as Matarian Gaia, but I still think it would be the best deck. Be top of tier 1, very, very least, right? I don't care about the regards. I want prestige or rewards. We don't want the rewards. We want prestige. I mean, if you want the prestige, right, you know, then go for it, mate. I got to the point where I stopped caring as much about prestige after I got to like 25, 26, I want to say. Basically, as soon as I was like deep into like university and into my studies, I kind of accepted the fact that I wouldn't be doing competitive stuff anymore, right? Now, that ended up being a lie, because then I've just gone on to do this, right? And we just play Rush competitively quite a lot. But I got, like, mentally, I got checked out of needing to prove myself, because I was kind of just quite happy mentally, like, where I was. So from that perspective, because, like, as a child, I was really into being really competitive, right? I played a lot of games that had, like, MMR. We had, like, obviously Yu-Gi-Oh! Was, like, the big one, where we'd go to tournaments. We'd travel all around the country and play in lots of different tournaments. We'd go to nationals, and we would do quite well, and that was my, like, competitive drive. But, like, as we've gotten older, that's kind of faded a little bit now. So now I'm quite happy just to be in the community and just hang out and just chat, right? I think that's the fun for me now. I gave up after day 1 because of work, and RNG really demotivated me. Oh, that's a shame. Then we went to play a 2002 JRPG. What was the 2002 JRPG? I'm genuinely curious. Pure Gaia would be definitely good, but I don't know if it would be the best variant. Pure Gaia, I think, would still be good. I think, in my opinion, Hero would still be better. And even if Pure Gaia ended up being more consistent, I think that if Pure Gaia became the best deck and Hero Gaia was still around, you would start to see, first off, Hero Gaia would have more back row hate. And second off, if Pure Gaia was actually the best deck, you could now play things like Combustion Crisis to absolutely mess with that deck. And if it's the best deck in the room, well, then you're going to be bringing the techs to beat the best deck in the room. Combustion Crisis very rarely will work against Hero Gaia, and regular Pure Gaia doesn't have as much back row hate to deal with the Combustion Crisis, so you will get absolutely bullied if you do that, right? That's the logic. I agree with Tomato's take. Correct take. I mean, I appreciate you agreeing with me. Well, look who it is. Tomato, how you doing? Hello, Darth Victor. Welcome. I played 11 games against Gaia Hero with Gaia Matarian and went 10-1. Nice. I mean, that's what you expect, right? That was the expected outcome. I assume that 1 even probably felt a little bit like you got unlucky, realistically. If they want to keep Hero at all, all they have to do is restrict the fusions to level 7 or lower. But again, it depends if they want to, right? Because, I mean, there are 800 different ways they could change the skill. I personally would like to see Hero Gaia go away. And I say that as someone that loves Hero Gaia. In my opinion, Hero Gaia is more fun than Matarian Gaia. I think it's really cool to have a deck as well that you can mix and match. But I think it sets a really bad precedent. And that also now means that any decks that come out in the future that use low-level materials to make fusion monsters, you now have to then go, oh, but does this break Gaia again? Oh, but does this work in Gaia? Oh, can this just slot into Gaia? And that can, like, create really weird situations. Now, if they keep power creeping as aggressively as they have been, that probably won't be an issue. But if they don't, and they start to slow things down, then it could be an issue. So it's like, it's awkward. Without knowing the future, it's hard to say for certain, but that is a fear that I have, right? Every non-Matarian variants were free wins. True. Even Pure Gaia is very good. Yes, I do think Pure Gaia is still very good, yeah. We have Hitter. Hello. I feel like I'm the only one who like Gaia Matarian since it makes Rush way more like speed. The thing is, as we go on, especially when we get to the fusions from Go Rush, because, I mean, you could make an argument that Gaia is a Go Rush fusion deck. But it's not an anime Go Rush fusion deck, right? The cards that we're playing with, so Conqueror of Champions and Swift Gaia, are both from the Go Rush era. So, again, you could make the argument that is kind of the style of deck that we're going to be getting in the future for everyone. And we are slowly getting there, right? We've had a lot of equip spells coming out. We have more equip spells coming out, as we've seen in the leaks today. So there are more and more cards coming out that are accelerating us to that point. Because basically, if you're following the Go Rush anime timeline, which is what Duel Links loosely follows, equips come out, and then straight from equips, we go to fusions. And then straight from fusions, we go to maximums. So we're already at the equip stage. Obviously, equips are going to be brand new for absolutely everything. But if we're going by the anime timeline, we should be going straight onto fusions next. And realistically, that could still be like 6, 8, 9 months away. But we're still getting there, right? And when we do get to that stage, in my opinion, the Go Rush era of fusions is like the best era we've had in Rush Duel. Like, some of the decks you get are really, really cool. There's a lot of them going around. There isn't just like a tier 1 deck typically. Typically, you have like 3 or 4 tier 1 decks at a time, at least in OCG. There was a lot of variety. Basically, if you had like a type that you liked, generally there was a playable version of that deck, which does make it very, very exciting. So I'm really personally looking forward to that. Before Gaia Matarian, I only played Matarian because of the same reason. So what you're basically saying is you really like combo decks. And again, that is a fair statement to have. I do think Matarian did scratch a certain itch that was really, really enjoyable. I think the main issue we've had with Matarian is Type Change Beam. Like, pure Matarian, I personally do quite like pure Matarian. I think Type Change Beam is a really cringe OTK tool. And it's unfortunate because I just don't think you should be allowed to play Type Change Beam and Assura Star in the same deck. If you couldn't do that, right? If you could keep Type Change Beam, but like just make it so Type Change Beam just cannot change things into warriors, it's fine, right? The deck is still really strong because you can change things to dragons, you can pop them to Victor Star, you can change them to spellcasters, you can use Hercules to tuck 2 of their monsters, which is, again, really, really good. But OTKs are lame, especially in Rush. I'm sorry, they'd star. That's just, unfortunately, like, that's just how I see it. I don't like getting killed out of nowhere. Xeno Saga. Was Xeno Saga 2002? Okay. At least someone loves it. I mean, again, a lot of people really like Matarian, right? Like, Hikari really likes Matarian. Deku really likes Matarian. There are a couple of, like, Matarian stands that really, really genuinely like it, so... Tomato, how do I get friend invitation reward? I need the rewards. It's all free. If you want the rewards, you have to get other people to use brand new accounts and then use your code. That's how you do it. They need to basically like use your code when they're making their account or whatever. It's a pain in the ass to do. Wow, so much discussion for one format deck and moribund gameplay. Hello, Kim Friend. Welcome. Are you excited for the speed stuff, Kim Friend? Because we're going to be talking about that in a little bit. Also disappointing when certain decks are splashable and others are restrictive. Pyro without noodles. I think Pyro without noodles, though, it's the easy, like, point and laugh. And I think Grand does the exact same thing. And I agree. I personally agree. I love noodles. I love Pyro. I love Chemicalized. I love all of that stuff. It sucks they can't be together. But it's very obvious why. Konami is obviously horrified by the fact that we made Noodle Burn a thing. And they're just like, nope, not doing that again, nope. No matter what, we will put as many restrictions on this as we need. You are not playing Noodle Burn ever again. And we're just sat here like, we just want to have fun and play the game. And Konami's like, no, never again. Which, it sucks. It sucks. But I think that's the reason, right? That's what I look at it as anyway. More and more dead. After maximum contact fusion... Yes, which is going to be really cool as well. After contact ritual, yes, which again we still haven't got in the OCG yet, but we should be getting it soonish. Speaking about Rush in the Rush focused channel, no way! I know, it's crazy, it's insane, insanity ensues. Enter this instead. I'm looking forward to Executies in Duel Links. Personally, it's my favourite Rush deck. So Executie is a awkward one, and the reason why is when the deck came out originally, it was a tier 0 deck. It was the only deck worth playing. If you've played the... I think it's just, in general, the Switch game, or is it in the sequel Switch game? In one of the Switch games, it might even be both of them, Executie is like the only competitive deck. Then it got hit on the limit restricted list. But even now, because after it got like unhit, it's back to being a strong deck. Now, the primary way it's been seeing success is with Royal Rebels. So Royal Rebels do get, again, another wave of support in the future. And when you combine that with the Executees, it made like another like tier 2, high tier 2 deck, I would say. So Executee is a really dangerous deck because if it comes out and it doesn't have the correct restrictions in place and it doesn't have a skill to like limit it, if you even give them a skill at all, it could just suddenly be worse than like Mitari and Gaia for like the only playable deck in the game. So it's tricky. It's very tricky. I can't imagine Executee getting a skill, and if they do come out, I would expect them to be heavily limited. Like almost like they start out with like a limit 3 and a limit 2 and maybe a limit 1 as well. Because when we got them, like the first time they got hit, they had Lilius down to 1, which means they only have one of their 2500 beta. Scramble got put down to 2, or Scramble might have been put down to 1 as well, I forget. But like they got hit a lot, right? So again, it's a dangerous deck to release. It's a dangerous deck to release. Everyone, I need your help, please, for the rewards. This is my code. The issue is, you need to be using, like, new accounts, I believe. Like, at least relatively new accounts. So, Bro didn't mention me in Matarian. Manicus, you will always be the Dinosaur Servant of Dawn player, okay? Now, you're just going to have to accept that. That's who you are now. That is your identity. Lol, I haven't get the rewards for year. What's the next tier 0 Duel Links Rush deck? Well, we don't know, right? They have to release a broken skill as well as a bunch of broken cards all at the same time and create the perfect storm like they did with Gaia. So, who knows? Who knows? Where is Victor? I need more info from him. He was around earlier. I didn't realize Executees were tier 0 at one point. Yes, they were basically the only deck. When I very first got into playing proper competitive games, it was the only deck worth playing. I don't know if I still have any of the tournament results, because I was keeping track of it at one point, because that's what I do. I keep track of things. I just like storing things in spreadsheets. Let me have a look quick. We're gonna have a little finagle and see if we can find them. Over here. Here we go. Alright. So... oh no, this isn't from the very first. Oh, do I not have any of the OG ones? I might not. We might just not. I was hoping we did, but maybe I just don't have any of it saved. We might just not have any of it saved. Yeah, it doesn't look like we do. I've got like some results, but none of it was like during Executee format by the look of things. No, it doesn't look like it is. I mean, I have like some. Hey, there's one here, Ursus, with you in it. I've got some tournament results from Ursus playing. Let's jump into this. Hopefully this will work. Yeah, there we go. Look who it is! Look who it is! It's Ursus! We found him! I need to do this. There we go. So this was like some of the early tournament results from some of the Witch's Kitchen tournaments that I played in. And here we have Ursus playing Executee. And that is me playing Casters. We went 3-3. Ursus did better than us. He went 4-2. I don't even remember. But yeah, this was like one of the very first tournaments I played in. Executee, 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 Executee. Insect Executee. Executee. Casters Executee. Executee, Executee. I mean, to be fair, like, this was this was not... this was the tail end of Executee format. But, like, this was still Executee format. This was before they got hit. But yeah, this is from ages and ages and ages and ages ago. Where were we? Making new accounts is painful. Dang, I miss my wife, 7Sessa. 7Sessa will always be back. They'll never be gone. Waiting for Dice and Abyss Kite with their characters in the far future, lol, but at least give me Blaze Fiends and Berry Fresh now. No. No, Corey, no. You're not allowed that, no. It's nice to hear that the direction of the upcoming decks are around the power level of Gaia. The metas before Psychic Natarian were a bit dull, IMO. So, it depends what we are talking about, right? In terms of, like, the amount of plays you make during a turn, we're going to go increase that number a lot. We're going to get a lot more cards that plus us, and just giving us more pluses means we have more options, right? So we're going to get more ways to draw, we're going to get more cards to get. Mirror Force better than Magic Cylinder. At this point, it was. And the primary reason for that was the best deck in the game was Executee. And Executee went wide, and they didn't really go tall. So they didn't have Flame at this point, I think, if I recall correctly. Which meant they didn't have one guy that got really big. They would basically get 3 guys out that had, like, around, like, you know, 2,000 attack. So having Magic Cylinder didn't do a lot for you in that kind of environment, right? Whereas Mirror Force wiping all 3 of their monsters was a lot better. So it kind of depends on the meta as to whether Cylinder or Force is better. At this point, it was Force. But yeah, basically, we're going in the direction of decks are going to get stronger. But we don't know when we're going to actually get to that. So the very first thing we're going to get is we're going to have like a gap probably where we're going to get some like filler decks. Now, those filler decks could be anything. We're going to need to get some 7s decks. So things like the baseball deck, that's probably going to be a thing. We're going to need the plant fusion stuff at some point. We're going to need the pyro fusion stuff. We still need the fire beast stuff. There's a lot of 7s decks we haven't gotten yet. So we'll need them to come in at some point. Then we're going to probably get Wind Psychic as one of the next Go Rush decks. And then after that should be straight into fusions. And that'll be things like Cat Fusion, which would be interesting to see if they want to give us Stray Force, which is basically Mirror Force. And then there's also the Dragon deck, like the normal Dragon Fusion with the Dragius. So it'll be interesting to see how that does as well. Can you tell us a bit of history of how you started your Rush career? I mean, it's not particularly exciting. We watched the show. I watched a lot of it. I went, this is cool. I then spoke to my friend Alex, and I was like, I like this game. Do you want to play it? He went, yeah, I'll give it a go. And then we recorded our games, and then we put them on YouTube. And then as we played more, we did basically... We started from the beginning and like went all the way up to the modern game. And then we started playing tournaments, and, you know, we enjoyed playing competitively in OCG. And then Duel Links came out, and then we started swapping over to Duel Links. Not because we like Duel Links more or less, but because Duel Links was official. And it was nice to have a ladder system more than anything else. On top of, it's really hard to play both formats at once to like a competitive level. But Sod Dinos, good times. Exactly. Tier 0 Fireworms. Fireworms are cool. I don't know if I'd ever say they were Tier 0. Like, but I mean, maybe in Duel Links, right? Woo-Win Psychics. That was the coolest adventure to my apparently. But yeah, this was a tournament we had a lot of fun with. Is there anyone else in here that's like a name that people will know from the community? There's Voltalon. Everyone should know Voltalon. 2nd place at Worlds. Infi Hearts did used to play a decent amount in Duel Links, not so much anymore. Is that Igami? Igami's right there. I mean, I know a lot of these people, but I don't think they're going to be like well known in like our community here. But anyway. Enough talking, old vegetable. Show the leaks. The leaks. How about instead, Ray, we talk about the tier list update for Speed? How's that, eh? We got Dwan, and Jade Hex, basically saying not a lot has changed. There have been no changes. Talking a little bit about how DD Crow's good. Necro Valley and Different Dimension Ground basically become mandatory in Hero. There's not really much going on here. Nothing changed. Boo! So what leaks are you looking at again? We're going to be looking at the... So before we get into the leaks, right? Before we actually get into the leaks, I wanted to get through all of the Rush stuff. So we're going to quickly just take a look at this. So this is the new Galaxy Cup 2025 prize card. So this is what people are playing for if they play Rush OCG. It's a cool looking card. It's level 8, which, you know, means it's not a secret order target. Neat. There's not really much more to say about that. It's cool. Look at that. Look at that full art. Over Rush rare. It looks pretty. A sign of divine that dances and sings glory. Lead those who have assembled together towards the unparalleled stage. I mean, yeah, we got that. Well, you want to see the bad thing before the good thing. It's more, I want to spend a long time on the speed leaks. And I think it would be really weird to do, like, rush, speed, rush. So I'm just trying to get, like, do the rush stuff first, right? Can't even secret order it? Exactly, exactly. You should get those rare collection tomorrow. So then we have the top decks, right? So we have a collection of them here. We'll hit refresh on this in case this hasn't been fully updated. But then we have this. This is the spreadsheet put together by Kat. And this basically goes through and grabs everyone's tweets. And if they can't get their tweets because they haven't tweeted about it, they'll generally send them a message and find out what decks they were on, right? So from this, we can see that there were 72 Gaia Metarium, 3 Gaia Pure, 1 Gaia Hero, 1 Pyro, which again is a caveat, and 3 Metarian, but all these Metarian, I believe, are playing the Gaia skill. So basically, everything's Gaia. So we can, for example, go and take a look at this caveat real quick. So if we type in Pyro, we can, if we can spell Pyro correctly, that's the step 1 of the plan. So we'll go ahead and we'll go and take a look at this quote-unquote Pyro list. So first off, in here, it even says Gaia Metarian and then Pyro is like a deck 2. And if we take a look at the tweet itself, it says, Silver on Gaia. I wanted to make more use of Fatal Meow, which is raw, in my dried squid deck. Good old dried squid deck. But it just wasted points. I hope it will be usable in the next environment. So, although they did play this deck, and this is the list that they did post, they were playing primarily Gaia, right? Primarily Gaia. This deck apparently didn't do that well. So, it's Gaia. It's Gaia. It's all Gaia. There was no Pyro. You know, any one of these people could say, like, I played Pyro for a few games, and they would still be a Gaia player, right? Font mentioned Secret Order. Yesterday, I bought 50 packs on deals looking for third and got absolutely nothing. Rip. Hey, Tomato, has Kim Friend accepted Rush Duels now? 1 Pyro. Kim Friend, yes, but Kim Friend double or 000, no. Hello, Lady Jasmine. Welcome, welcome. It's all Gaia. Always has been. True, true. Lol, squid deck, huh? That was funny. So that is it, right? We basically just have a bunch of Gaia. And then we can take a look at the decks themselves. It's all Gaia. Now, I was told to take a look at decks 10 and 31. So we're going to go and have a quick gander and take a look at 10 and 31, which apparently have, like, weird builds. So this is 10 by Sky at EMP. So we're playing, what, 3 Palace Gargoyle. We have 3 copies of Actor. We have 3 copies of Serpainter. We have 3 copies of Sword Dancer. We have 3 copies of Imaginary Actor. This is just basically pure Metarian. This is just Metarian. Like, what's the weird part of this? Obviously, there's no Gaia stuff. There is no other trap cards, right? You could still just play, like, Goat and Majesty if you wanted to. Obviously, opted not to. And you could, if you wanted to, play Slime, because it's still going to be pretty good into the field, but I understand not wanting to. So, yeah, I mean, also, Cyber End is just here. He's just hanging out. We just got a Cyber End, just in case. Which is pretty cool. Went 23-16 with Pyro. Absolute Chad. Absolute Chad. I think it was Dwan. Brad was playing Pyro as well quite a lot. I don't think he ever made top 100. And then Ursus obviously got to top 30 and was doing really, really well on Pyro as well. So we did have some Pyro bros doing really, really well. It's just unfortunate, again, you just can't beat the menace that is Gun. The skill. Oh, is there any different skill? Chivalrous Celerity. There's still Chivalrous Celerity. Imaginary Actor is my favorite Gaia card. True. It's just the best Gaia card. And then the other one we were told to look at is 31. So we'll go take a look at deck 31. Where are we now? 27. We're close. We're close. 29. 30. 31. Yushan. Alright, let's take a look at Yushan's deck. What are we looking at here? So this one has Goat, this one doesn't. 2 Gaia is, you know, some people are on 2, some people are on 3. Single Curse of Dragon, some people are on 2, some people are on 1. There's nothing too surprising there. Single Gun, also not too surprising. I mean, this looks fairly standard. I even have 1 replay saved. Nice. Is it a banger? Is it an absolute banger, Don? In fact, are we on our I am on my speed account. I could go and take a look at Dwan's replay. I think Dwan is a friend on this account. So, if you bear with me, I'll have a look quick. Well, it's taken ages to load for now, so we'll see what happens if that ever finishes. Is there a third deck? Is there a third deck? Is there a third deck? No. There's nothing more over to this side. And then down here is just Bo. This is actually a more interesting list, because it's got All-Seeing Harvey, it's got Vulture Cord, it's got Swift Gaia. This is a more fun list than the other ones. It's funny as well. I feel like I've played like every different way you can play Gaia at this stage. Right, we do have Dwan on the friends list. I don't know why, but Duel Links is being so slow today. Alright, let's take a look. Let's take a look at Dwan's replay. So we'll get rid of this quick so you can actually see what's going on. But we're going to check it out. We're going to check out Dwan's replay. We're going to do it. Check 85th. Alright, we'll check 85th after this one. For now, we're going to look at this game. I assume this is the one. Maddox versus Maddox. Let's take a peek. So, we have Dwan at the bottom. We have his Korean opponent at the top. Rising Hero Argent is going to come down. So this is Gaia Hero at the top. This is going to be, I assume, Pyro at the bottom. We're going to tribute summon out the Curse of Dragon. We're going to activate our skill, boost the power up, and we're going to send Goat to the graveyard, sort of semi-telegraphing that we have a Majesty in the back row. We're going to summon the Germalu, use the skill, grab back the Super Assistant actually to hand, set 5, and pass. Dragon's Inferno is going to come down and pop the Restoration. A second Dragon's Inferno is going to come down and pops the Secret Order. We're going to activate Celerity once again. This time we're going to add the Burst Dinatrix and the Polymerization from deck to hand. Where are we going to go from here? We're going to summon out the Avian, summon out the Burst Dinatrix, activate a Fusion, so we still have the Poly in the back pocket. Now, assume this is going to be going straight into Burst Wingman, which it most certainly is. So we can now activate Burst Wingman's effect. We can pop the back row as well as boosting its own attack by 1,000. We're going to pop the Slime. We're going to summon out S or tribute the S or to summon out the Curse of Dragon. We will attack over for a chunk of damage, but because we don't have any other piercings, we don't have any battle tested, so we're not going to get any more in. So Dwan gets away only taking 1,600 damage. We're going to summon out Red Robe, activate our skill. We can then grab back Ember once again. We're then going to tribute out our Chromatographagus and then summon out the other Ember, use its effect to cheat out the Chemicalized Salamander, activate Chemicalized Salamander's effect, and walk into a negate attack. So this board is still pretty big. It's going to be quite difficult to like kill through this board. It's not impossible, but it's not easy. The other thing is there's not a lot of value to be gained from Burst Wingman here because we haven't got any back row, so we can just use its effect to boost attack. And we are going to clear over this entire board, as well as having 3 cards in the hand and 3 cards in the back row, which is going to make this very difficult for Dwan. We're going to activate Secret Order, bring back Chromatographicus. We can activate the skill once again. Because we don't have a effect high-level monster on the field, we still can get the add back. So we'll grab back the Ember. Ember effect is going to summon out a second Chromatographicus. Set 3. King's Majesty is going to come down. We're going to shuffle that Goat back into the deck, stop 1 attack, and then we are going to be able to attack over that Burst Wingman and try to protect our back row. Starry Start is going to come down and bring back the Curse of Dragon, adding back Fusion to our hand. Chivalrous Celerity is going to be activated. Widespread Ruin is going to be the answer. But our opponent doesn't have many ways to do anything. It seems like they haven't drawn any of their battle tested. We're going to use Hyper Assistant Aichi again to bring back, or Ember, not Aichi's the Japanese name. We're going to use that to bring out the Chemicalized Salamander, activate its effect to reduce, then we can attack directly, and attack directly again because our opponent has already used pretty much all of their good back row. And there it goes. I mean, our opponent didn't find battle tested, but that's still a pretty good example of doing what the deck does, right? The deck was able to consistently summon out big, high attack monsters, consistently able to out your opponent's board because you could reduce them with the effect of Chemicalized Salamander. And even if they had bigger fusion monsters out and we didn't have Chemicalized Salamander, we had things like Secret Order that could boost our monster's attack up to that, 32. And we had Ember as well that could also get us up to 33. Both very, very good. Check 85th place. All right, let's go and take a look at 85th. We're going to have to scroll a long way down to get to this. 68. Where are we now? 85th. So what are we looking at here? We have 3 battle tested. We have 3 Essel. We have 3 Gargoyle. We have Ultimate Flag Beast Watch. There's a lot of monsters here. How many cards is this? Just 30 cards. 3 Sword Dancer. 3. So no traps, no fusion. We're playing Ghost Cyclone and 3 Inferno, and then we're just playing 3 TSA. So this is the 0 Fusion build. It's quite common, which is just basically, you don't play Star Restart, you don't play Fusion. You go all in on just finding like a level 5 ASAP, ideally a battle tested. Like you go like, you know, Curse of Dragon or Palace Gargoyle into battle tested, use the effect, go into a fusion, use the skill, add poly. If you have half of any other fusion, you get to search the other half, activate that, kind of go in and try and push for game. Talismanic Seal Array is an interesting one as well. I guess theoretically, you can almost guarantee you're going to have a decent chunk in. I don't know if you're going to be able to activate more than one of these like very early in the game, though. It's interesting. It's interesting. Interesting. Because of Goha Rush, Duel Link's slowly dead. I'm not sure what that means, but I'm going to, you know, I'm going to appreciate that you have an opinion. Is Eternal Galactica strongest than Overlord in terms of maximum? So if we're talking specifically about the Galaxy Maximum monster, it's not very good. Now, with a skill, it could be really good. I'm trying to like... Eternal Galactica stronger than Overlord in terms of maximum. Because this is the Galaxy Maximum. Eternal Galactica Oblivion is a fusion monster. So, I'm not really sure what we're talking about. Yeah, Burst. Wingman, Event, Crazy, then Limit 1, Gaia, that BS. I mean, potentially. Fatal Meow, true. Pyro, do you have a good grind game? The Salamangreat of Rush, true. How many turns without battle-tested Lamau? Interesting build. Little question. Why don't we play with 40 cards? Lack of cards or consistency? So, the main reason to play more cards in your deck is because there are more must-haves in the deck. The other reason is because you play things like Garnets and you want to not draw into them, right? So we have a lot of ways to search the deck, for example, and we don't want to draw specific cards because we want to search them out, so we want to play more cards to lower the chances we get that. Other than that, you want generally as few cards in your deck as possible because then it increases the chance that you see the cards you're looking for. So right now, or I guess in general in Rush, we don't have the ability to search. The only searching we have is via skills. So 84 ads. I mean, we only have 1 minute 30 ads every hour. That's all we have, so... Every max had a skill so far. I mean, you're not wrong. Well, that's also not true, by the way. We have one max that doesn't have a skill. So, actually... 15th place is Gaia Hero, if you want to see that. Right, let's go take a look at 15. Let's go take a quick gander, and then we'll get onto the leaks. 12. 15. Oh, it's Kai. So, Kazaren Kai is the player that took first place back in March, I want to say. So, like, a year ago, this guy took first place in GRF. So, he's still doing quite good. Still doing quite good. Where Dino Max? True. Salad got even more broken. It's so cooked. We're cooked. I mean, it might not be getting thingy for a while, right? Dino has the one which sets the Cyber spell. That's not a Dino skill. You can play that in any of them. In fact, Worms and Overlord have also played that skill. But yeah, this is one copy of Swift Gaia again. I don't like Swift Gaia. Swift Gaia is a card that, if it works, is really, really good. But it doesn't work most of the time. Unless you're playing against it, and then they just always have it. But yeah, this is a fairly Oh, so the interesting thing about this list is, again, it's playing Zero Fusion. This is a Zero Fusion Elemental Hero build, which is kind of cool. I kind of like that. It's interesting. But yeah, there's not really much more to say. Like, Gaia Matarian, like, strongest deck. I suppose we can quickly go over like this again. So if I move this over. So these are our predictions. We'll probably be making a video out of this. But this is like... This is not my prediction. This is my wish list. So what I want to see Gaia skill nerfed. Again, just stop Matarian Gaia and stop Hero Gaia. Like, lock the extra deck. Doesn't matter how you do it, just do it. Dragons, I think, needs a skill nerf, because if we do just nerf Gaia down, Dragons will just come back, and I hate the dragon deck as it is now. So just rework the skill. Rework the skill. Change it to be something else. It's annoying at the moment. Type change beam to 1. I feel like this is going to keep happening. Basically, whenever you have a skill that doesn't hard lock you out of playing the Metarian cards, you can always play a Metarian engine. And if you can play a Metarian engine, you can use type change beam. And type change beam is not very healthy for the game. So just deal with type change beam. Just deal with it. Just deal with it. Just deal with it. Jump start to 2. This is basically in here just so that Psychic doesn't become dominant. Because if we nerf dragons and we nerf Metarian and we're nerfing, you know, Gaia, then Psychic's going to be the unquestioned best deck, right? So nerf Psychic as well. This is a little slap on the wrist. It'll keep it down a little bit. It's not anything like insane, but it's still going to be really, really good. Then on to the limit 3s, we want Battle Tester Gaia to 3. I think this is a very important change. This will basically lock them out of playing any other limit 3s, which is quite important. I would still like Mirror Gears to 3. I don't think this is going to happen. And the reason I don't think this is going to happen is because Konami hate retroactively changing Ultra Rares to be limited. So I don't think they will do this, but I really want them to. And the same with Ashura Star. Ashura Star especially won't, because it's one of the anime characters' ace monsters. And if it comes out restricted, it's less likely to get hit. So some changes I have seen people say is Sword Dancer to 3 and Triad Drago to 3. This way we hit without hitting these 2 cards, which again are URs. So I could see this. I think it'd be a bit weird, but I could see it, right? And then just unlimit a bunch of shit that doesn't need to be limited anymore, right? I want the Psychic skill to change too. I want it to only be activated if your life points equal or lower. I don't think that's necessary, but I can understand why you'd want that. Kai said he went 21-3 with Gaia Hero on day 1. Nice. That's really good. That's really, really good. So I don't need this anymore. We'll probably keep that there. We probably don't need these. Don't need this. So I guess now it's leaks time. I think it's leaks time, guys. It's only an hour into stream. It's time for leaks. Who's ready for leaks? Who wants to read up on some leaks? We'll come back to the speed stuff in a minute, right? Because there's a lot of speed stuff. There's very little rush stuff. So we're going to do the rush stuff first. We'll go back to the speed stuff. So, first things first. Water Star Sign. Ooh. Let's hit a refresh on this to see if this has been updated. Here we go. Here we go. We've got lots of cards now. That's good to see. That's good to see. Let's just double check there's no rush in here. There's no... None of this is rush. None of this is rush. None of that is rush. Okay, we're good to go. Alright, Water Star Sign. You can only fusion summon once per duel. Twice per duel, reveal a water attribute fusion monster in your extra deck. The original attack of one face-up monster on your field whose name is specifically listed on that fusion material becomes 600 at the end of the turn. Then you can add a fusion. So this is basically the same as like Light Star Sign. I think we had Dark Star Sign. But Light Star Sign is the one that we primarily see. So this is a weird skill. And the reason why is, if we come over here, we search, you know, fusions. And then if we search, you know, water. So there's Poseidon Adventurer, not a very good card. There's Showering Seaferno, again, not a very good card. And then we have a bunch of cards we don't have. So out of these, the cards that are good, this has seen play, it's not good. This is actually good. Dark Hydro Cannon, Neutron Bluefin is good. I don't think we're going to get this yet, because this is a Go Rush Fusion card. Pitch Dark Surging Wave Swordsman Onimari Kunituna. Again, really, really, really good. We're not getting this card yet. Pulse Neos, really good. We're not getting this card yet. This is Contact Fusion. I don't think they're going to give us Contact Fusion early. Brachio Radius. They could give us this. This could just go in the, like, card trader. They could give it to us if they want. That's fine. Karibo Torero. This is Karibo and Siesta Torero. This card could come out, right? Which is just pay 500 life points, return a defense position monster from your opponent's field to the end of his hand. This could come out. That'd be fine. Then we have Splendid Floormaster. This is probably not going to come out. And the reason it's not is because its fusion material is Amazing Dealer. And Amazing Dealer is a super generic, really good card that did see a lot of play. So I don't think we're going to see that early. Amazing Dealer is the kind of card you would expect to see in a selection box. It's one of those, like, it's a Siesta Torero. It's a... an All-Seeing Harvey. It's one of those type of cards that you wouldn't expect to come out unless it's like in a selection box. It's basically like generic box bait, right? The vanillas that make Brachio are good. They are good. I mean, they're not bad. Like, they're both 1600s. And what better place to put 1600s than in the Dinosaur deck, right? And then we have Mariner. I mean, Mariner could come out, right, if they wanted it to. It's a 1400 that can attack directly. It's made using Bubble Man, which is just a bad card. If you... yeah. Make it free to play, spellcasters need it. I mean... it's really good, though. I mean, this one specifically is a bit weird, right? It's basically draw 2 cards or draw 1 card as its effect. But this is double Ray Dragons. So, we were saying earlier about how it's like equips, and then after equips, we go to Go Rush Fusions. Now, double Ray Dragons, this card belongs to the Lug. The Lug is he's basically like the first fusion guy. So the first person who uses fusions is Neanderstar. The first person who has like... he's like the fusion antagonist, I guess, is the Lug. And this is one of the Lug's monsters. So we would expect this to come out within the year. I would expect this card to be released before 2026, right? That's like my prediction. It might be a lot closer to 2026, right, than 2025, but... or than the 2024, I should say. But this card's pretty good. It's made using the Ray Dragon. Ray Dragon is just a 1500 vanilla. And it's if the only monsters in your graveyard are dragons and or high dragons, pay 500 life points, 1 face-up normal monster on your field can attack twice, or set a fusion from your graveyard to your spell and trap card zone. What the hell is Ray Dragon? I mean, Ray Dragon is, I mean, we can go and have a look if you want. But basically, right now, the only thing this card's going to do is let you use these two. But this card will be out eventually. There you go, here's Ray Dragon. It's just a 1500 vanilla. Nothing particularly exciting. It's just Ray Dragon his nuts on Ray's face. Haha. It's a dragon that lives in cold territories. It moves at high speeds through snowy paths. Yeah, I could see this coming out. But realistically, this skill is going to do nothing, right? Like, you can play this to try and make pluggy fish a thing, I guess. But, like, there's nothing crazy there. But then we have this, right? This is weird. So we have Zwijo's Return, right? Ray Dragon was Soramia Dragon, but he had a breakdown and deleted all of his socials. Now, Ray is, like... Ray is such an important member of the Rush Duel Links community that I could not imagine like being in this community without Ray. Like Ray is so ingrained in like my mental perception of what the Rush Duel Links community is. That if Ray disappeared, like actually disappeared, it would be so unbelievably sad. But we have the Zwijo Return or Rerun. So it can be activated from turn 2 onward if you control a face-up normal monster and all of the monsters in your deck are Dark Galaxy. Wait a minute, that sounds familiar. Send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard. Wait a minute, that sounds familiar. So we had the original Dark Galaxy skill that needs a normal monster on your field, and then you send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard. Then we got the Pyro skill, Roar, or what's it called, Meow, which does the same thing. And now we're getting another skill, again for Dark Galaxy, that also does the exact same thing again. So this is very unimaginative. It's kind of like, eh? But if a monster with 1600 or more attack was sent to the graveyard as effect, okay, exactly the same as the other skill. You can also add one of those monsters to your hand. Okay, you know, that's pretty good, but it's exactly the same as the other skill. Then you can add a Voidvelg Tearfang, or Tearfing, from your deck or graveyard to your hand once per duel. So this is not bad, right? It's 400 attack, gives piercing, that's fine. We have another skill that does something similar to this, and it's Join Tech, Press Rush, right? That lets you get back Rush Horn every single turn. But the trade-off with that skill is it's limited 1. So although you can get it back infinitely, you can only have it equipped to 1 thing. This potentially is going to be unlimited, so you could play 3 copies. I wouldn't recommend playing 3 copies, but you can. You can if you want. In my opinion, this is worse. So first off, you only get to search the tier thing once per duel, which means if you summon it, make a big push, and your opponent flips over a negate attack, or a slime, or they just stop you in any way, shape, or form, you've lost your tier thing, and it's gone. If you're playing more than one tier thing, you're now just playing a pile of bricks. That's probably not going to end well. So in my opinion, the other skill is actually just better than this one. Now, I have seen some people say they prefer this skill, or they think this skill could be better. This skill is better if you're going to try an OTK, right? If you're going to literally sit there, I'm going to try and kill you this turn. Okay, this is slightly better because you're getting extra 400 attack, I guess, right? But, like, the other skill gives you, like, piercing, like, guaranteed on at least one monster every single turn, potentially 2 or 3, depending on what hand you have. I don't know. This just feels bad. I'm not a fan of this. I think it's unimaginative. It's very boring. It doesn't seem very powerful. It seems like they phoned it in with this one. They phoned it in. Tier thing, it's Sigurd, Fire Emblem time. Isn't this just worse than the old skill, sacrificing potential piercing every turn for piercing once and a 400 attack boost once? Yeah, basically. That's my take on it anyway, right? There isn't much more to say about this. The only other thing to really talk about is we're getting this, and we know that when we get the rerun, we'll have 2 cards. So one of them's going to be tier thing. We don't know what the other card is going to be. We did talk about this a little bit in my Discord, which, in case you're not there already, !Discord. We'll post a link if anyone wants to join the Discord. But we were talking about potential cards that we could get. And I think it would make a lot of sense to get another boss, but one of the bad bosses, right? So one of the ones that's never going to, like, be doing a lot, but, like, could still... is going to have to come out at some point, right? The first one's Voidveil Transy. So this is 2400 attack. During the main phase that you normal or special summon this card, destroy all face-up normal monsters on the field. So this could come out and be okay. Kind of. Because first off, Gaia does play some normal monsters, so this could be okay into that. And if we do get the Luke cards, the Luke plays a lot of normal monsters as well. Like the Dragius, which I guess we'll take a look at quickly here. There's not really much to say about it, but we can see it's a normal monster. So the Dragius is just a big 2500 normal monster. So they summon level 7 normal monsters. So it could be good into that, right? But then this card gains attack equal to the number of monsters destroyed by this effect times 300, but you can only attack with this card. So it's not very good because it limits what you can attack. It's only good at popping normal monsters. But this card has to come out somewhere, so why not bring it out with the event? The other one that they could bring out is Voidveil Hecaton Chair. And Hecaton Chair is, like, again, kind of bad. So the first one's level 7. The rest of the Galaxy bosses are all level 8. And that does matter, but only if we have the consistency tools. So typically, you want to play, like, all 7s, all 8s. You don't want to mix and match, because if you play Trade-In, you want to be discarding level 8s. If you're playing Ship of 7 Treasures, you want to be discarding level 7s. Now, we don't have either of those cards in Duel Links, so that might not matter. But even so, this isn't a very good card. So 2600 defense is already a little bit annoying. But we can change this attack position card to face-up defense position, inflict 500 damage to your opponent. Then if you have a face-up level 8 monster on your field, which is going to be any other boss, you can change the battle position of one face-up Galaxy set monster on your field. So you change this back to defense, right? Or, like, we change this from attack to defense, then we can use this effect to change it back to attack if we want to use it to attack. It's not very good. It's not very good. Cryosaur Copium. I really don't think we're going to get Cryosaur, right? Just because Cryosaur, 1, is part of a fusion, and I don't think they would give it to us without the fusion. I mean, they could. I don't think they will. And 2, it is a potential triple attacker, which can also get piercing, so it's just kind of an OTK machine. Damn, man, all of Zwijo cards hates Udius. I mean, basically, yeah, right? But yeah, that's basically it for the rush stuff. So now we're going to talk about speed stuff. It's speed time, baby. Let's go. All right, so speed. We've got some new card database modifications. What do we got here? We got basically a bunch of the Exo Sisters, and we have a lot of the Rescue Ace stuff. So this is interesting. I don't know a ton about either of these archetypes, if I'm being perfectly honest. Like, the interesting stuff for me is obviously going to be stuff like Springans, right? I mean, that's what I'm looking forward to. And obviously Salaman Great Raging Phoenix is right here as well. So much speed stuff, exactly. Exo Sisters, the need for speed. There's also some RDA stuff. Oh, Red Dragon Archfiend stuff. Where is the Red Dragon Archfiend stuff? Is it like the Archfiend stuff? Like Fiendish Golem? Bone Archfiend. This is going to probably be RDA. The issue is I've never played RDA, so I don't really know how it plays. Obviously, Resonator's here. Soul Resonator. Vision Resonator. Dinosaur support. I see dinosaur support. Dino Tier 0. I hope so. I hope so, Valley. Rescue Ace. Finally, we got good Resonators and level 8. Oh god, Raging Phoenix. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in here. We also got some Sulfur Chords, guys. Do you guys like Sulfur Chords? Eh? Eh? We got Tri-Brigade Rendezvous, which is also in it. Switch Point. It's neat. Yeah, I don't know a ton about Rescue Ace. All I know is like Chase and like basically the current version. No, it's not even Rescue Ace, is it? There's like a different. What's the archetype I'm thinking of that's in Duel Links at the moment? I forget what it's called. But yeah, we can banish 2 Rescue Ace from our graveyard, special summon this card from your hand. During the main phase, you can set up to 4 Rescue Ace quick play spells and or normal traps. I mean, we can only do 3, so I guess it doesn't matter. If another card you control leaves the field by an opponent's card effect, except during the damage step, you can target 1 card on the field and destroy it. What was the card that I was thinking of called? If we go back over to here. The trap card with Chase. S-Force. S-Force is what I was thinking of. For some reason, I confuse Rescue Ace and S-Force. I don't know why. They literally just have a hyphen in their names. That's the only thing that makes them remotely similar. But Turbulence with only 3 spell traps is funny. Yes. It's just very amusing how that kind of works out. I do think, though, these cards look sick. Like, just, like, ignoring their effects, just the artwork on these cards looks really cool. I heard that Rescue Ace, Exorcist, and Raging Phoenix are most likely Master Duel assets. I did hear that as well, but I don't know how the data mining works, right? As in, like, why would all of this information be for Master Duel when we're data mining Duel Links stuff, unless they put it all in, like, the same repository? Which I guess would make sense, because they're a part of the, like, it's the same company, right? But it's just a bit weird. Because typically, in case anyone doesn't know, typically when it comes to data mining, again, I don't know specifically about like the Yu-Gi-Oh stuff, but in general for data mining, the way that it works is different information gets uploaded to a server, and then from that server, it is ready to be imported into the game. So what you do is you go straight to the server, which usually is public domain, like it's encrypted, but it's still public. You can still see what's like going up to the server, what's getting uploaded. And then you basically yoink that, we decrypt it, and then we get leaks. That's typically how data mining works. So assuming they're both, you know, both of the games go onto the same database, it makes sense that you could extract information from both games. Can I saying, please, please, please go into the Tindango box, because Master was getting the tactical tryout decks. Rescue Ace is so good, even in a Duel Links format. Easy draw 2. We will not get Rescue Ace soon. I mean, that's the other thing, right? We had Dinosaurs leaked 9 months ago. We're only just getting a skill for them now. So even if these cards do come to Duel Links, it could still be like a year out, right? It literally just could be. Wait, do we even have the card that draws 2? Remember we had Sky Striker support. Final Bringer of the End Times is cool. Yeah, I do remember that, actually. Was that August? We had the Sky Striker stuff? This stuff, right? Like Rose. No, we did get Rose. No, it wasn't this one. Was it September? Yeah, we got this stuff, right? We had Surgical Striker Hamp. We had, you know, basically just the Surgical Striker stuff, right? But that stuff never came out. Sky Striker, Zeke, Sky Striker, Camellia. Like, we had all these cards leaked and they just never came out, right? Oh, they haven't come out yet. So, where were we? We were over here still. We were over here still. So, again, I don't know much about Exorcisters, but it's cool that they're coming out. We've got Sulfur Chord stuff, which is also kind of cool. I don't have like a ton to say about this stuff. Obviously, the big ones for me are going to be like the Springans, right? Like Merrymaker is huge. It sounds like we won't have like full power Springans because the Springans work. Springans are a bit of a weird archetype where they kind of have crossover with a bunch of other stuff that they talk about in lore. So like they have a crossover with Albaz, they kind of cross over with Dogmatica, kind of a little bit. They cross over with Therians. There's like a lot of different archetypes that kind of, they have cards that reference them or cards that work with them. So I don't think we're necessarily going to get like all of those. But it's cool that we're going to get stuff like Mirror Maker, right? Every striker card was in the database change. Sulphur Cord is already in Duel Links. I mean, yeah, but we don't have, like, all of these Sulphur Cord cards, right? Like, where were they? Like, Sulphur Cord Symphony, Sulphur Cord Formal, Grand Sulphur Cord Coolia. But, let's get into the skills. So, we're going to start with the Akira skills. These are going to be Tindangle. I have played very, very few games against Tindangle. I've never played with the deck myself. So, we're just going to have to kind of see how this goes. But I know this deck is kind of toxic. It kind of plays in a very, like, stally fashion, typically. But you can only use the skill's second and third effects once per duel. At the start of the duel, add a Tindangle card from your deck or graveyard of your choice. Then set Stars of Mail. So during your main phase, you can activate this effect, discard one Tindangle card. If you do, apply one of these effects as a continuous spell card. Change one face down defense position monster to face of attack position. Okay, so we flip a guy up. Or change an attack position to face down defense. So it's just flippy floppy. That's all we're doing. This turn, you cannot discard another card with the same name for the effect of Stairs of Mail, even if this card leaves the field. Okay. Interesting, interesting. It's him, the Tindangler. I play once again, it has to hate it. Play once against it, and I hate it. Right. I can understand that opinion. To your field from outside your deck. Okay. You cannot normal or special summon monsters, excluding special summons from the extra deck, except Tindangle monsters. Send one card from your hand or field to the graveyard, then you can set to 2 Tindangle cards or Nagel's Protection from your deck to the graveyard. So we just send them to the grave. So we're just dumping stuff to the graveyard. So we lose a card from our hand or field. So we're minusing 1, and then we're dumping a bunch of stuff into the graveyard specifically. But Tindangle monsters in your main monster zones cannot be destroyed by battle or your opponent's card effects. Oh, that sounds like fun, doesn't it? Oh, I'm just gonna put a card down that turns everything I have into towers. Neat. Once per turn, if your Tindangle monster inflicts battle damage to your opponent, the battle damage is doubled. You can banish this card from your graveyard, discard one Tindangle card to add Nagel's Protection from your deck to your hand. You can only use the effect of Nagel's Protection once per turn. So if this gets outed, you can use it to search another one. And it basically doubles the damage you do and protects your monsters from being destroyed by anything. Dangling Wang. Stars of Mail isn't once per turn, huh? Stairs of Mail. Yeah, I guess it's not. But you have to keep discarding cards, so... if your opponent controls a monster, you can make face-down Tindangle monsters you currently control become flip summonable. So this is weird. So basically, the skill is we can dump cards into the graveyard. So bearing in mind, we can dump Protection. Protection's effect will then let you banish it to search another one, right? So you can basically use this to sort of search this out. You get to discard a card, and then you get to search Stairs of Mail. So you're not plussing off of this. So none of this is actually plussing. It's all breaking even. So it seems very fair. But the Tindangle cards are kind of gross. Me summoning Trishula to remove the problem. True. By the way, the start should say start of the turn, start of the first turn. What here? Start the duel? This is weird that it starts at the start of the duel. I guess we'll take a look at the other ones. Again, I'm not, like, super well-versed in Tindangle, so I can't, like, point out all the sick combos you can do with this, but, like, I assume there's stuff you can do, right? I don't think there's a Tindangle graveyard effect. That's a starter. What, as in, like, one of the other two you send to the graveyard? I mean, probably not. Yeah, Tindangle. While this card is in your graveyard, special summon this card face down defense position. Discard destroy battle or card effects into the graveyard. We can't do that. So that's irrelevant. Special from the hand. That doesn't matter. Sent from hand or deck to the graveyard. So, will you be able to use this card in response to a skill sending it? I assume you will, because it will start on a new chain, but the skill doesn't start a chain. I assume this will trigger if you send it, right? But you can target one Tindangle monster in your graveyard, except this special summon interface and defense position. I don't really understand the rulings for skills, other than they don't start a chain, but I assume you could use D-holes. Or doles, I guess this is meant to be pronounced. Skills don't send as card effects. But this doesn't have to be sent by a card effect, does it? It just says this card is sent from the hand or deck to the graveyard. So it's not sent by a card effect, it just has to be sent to the graveyard. The question is, would it still trigger it? Because if it does, you can send this, send any other card. You could get back, like, Hound, for example, right? You could just immediately get Hound out in defense position. There are some monsters what plus you and search stuff because you have the cards with the grand. Oh, never mind. I think it doesn't work still. Again, I don't know if this would or not, but if it does, this could be kind of gross. Because if you think about it, you can now cheat out one of our higher level pin dangles. Then we can use our skill to immediately flip them up, right? So it has to be turn 2, but then we could like so for example, we could use the skill, send this, send. Like, let's say Hound, for example, and send Protection. Protection gets us another Protection. We then can use our skill to flip up Hound immediately, which we still haven't normal summoned at this point, which is you can target one other face-up monster on the field. This card gains attack equal to the attack of that monster's original attack. Then change that target to face-down defense position. Each monster your opponent controls loses 1,000 attack for each monster linked to it. I mean, obviously, if we can get out our links, that would be pretty good. If this card destroyed battle and sent to the graveyard, you can target one face-up monster on the field, change it to face-up defense position. Tri-Brigades don't trigger from the skill, so this shouldn't trigger if you send them with the skill. Okay, that probably makes sense then, right? Let me just check the wording on the Tri-Brigade cards. If this card is sent to the graveyard, yeah, so it shouldn't trigger it then. Okay, so that won't work then. Okay. I mean, that's at least something. So let's take a look at Akira skill 2. And we are in an ad break now, but I'm sure these couple of skills aren't going to matter. You can only use the skill's second effect once per duel. At the start of the duel, add ace card to your deck. Can be activated before your normal draw. If your life points to 3,000 less, one of the cards you draw will be the Fiend monster. Okay, it's cool. Neat. Akira skill 3, you can only use the skill's first and second effects once per duel. Return a Tindangle Hound in your hand to your deck, draw 1. If your opponent controls a monster while you control no monster, reveal a dark monster from your hand and return 1 card from your hand to the deck. Then set Tindangle Hand from your hand or deck. And its battle position can be changed. I mean, I guess if you just want to go like all in on Hound, this is fine. This is probably going to be the good skill, like Akira skill 1. Poor Ray, getting absolutely destroyed by ads. Depending on where you live as well, you get really different ads. Because we were watching Hikari stream Quantum's tournament, and it was just a bunch of Italian ads the entire time. Alright, what is skill 4 going to be? You can only use this skill's first and second effects once per turn. Send a Tindangle monster from your hand to the graveyard. Add a flip monster with a level lower than it from your deck to your hand. You can also reveal 1 flip monster instead to send 1 Tindangle monster with a lower level from your deck to your hand. Deck to the field. Okay. From turn 2 onwards, you make face-down monsters you control become flip summonable, and face-up monsters you control who treat as Tindangle monsters when used as link materials. This is also an interesting skill. I'm curious. I'm curious to see what we could do with this. Again, I am not going to play Tindangles, but like I'm sure someone else will. Subterra Tindangles, true. Yeah, this, and this. It's skill 1 and skill 4 seem like the interesting ones. Skill 2 is like a nothing skill. Skill 3 is just Hound Turbo. I don't... So I guess now we're going to the Yusei skill. So I will say as well, I am not a junk player. I am not a synchron player. So I am not going to understand the combos with this deck either. But we'll take a quick gander. You can use this skill's second and third effects once per duel if your deck contains a Stardust Dragon. You cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except Junk, Synchron, or Warrior Synchron monsters. Light or Wind monsters with a level. Okay, so you can summon out any generic Light or Wind, so I guess that gives you access to like Crystal Wing. That's like something. Reveal 1 Synchron monster in your hand and return 1 card in your hand to your deck. Okay, so we're immediately minusing 1. Then add on your marks get set duel from your deck to your hand. Okay, so we're not plussing. We have to have a Synchron, and then we exchange 1 card for this. So when this card is activated, if you control no other cards, you can Synchron You can add 1 Synchron monster from your deck to your hand. Okay, so this also pluses us. Once per duel during your standby phase, place 1 signal counter on this card. With 2 signal counters on this card. Draw 2 cards, send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard. I don't know how often that's going to matter. I kind of see this as just search out any Synchron. Is this the meant to be manga Yusei support? I never read the 5Ds manga, so I have no idea, mate. I have no idea. Yusei skill does nothing. It's fit your 6 deck. But what is your end board? You get a bunch of cards. But what can they even end on? What you're describing right now, Baj, is Earth Machine. Where you can do a bunch of stuff. You can get a load of cards. You can spin a load of plates. And then, like, you end on nothing. Send 1 card from your hand or field to the graveyard. Then play 1 Wheel Synchron. Face up on your field from outside of your deck. Add Jet Warrior, Junk Archer, Junk Destroyer, Junk Warrior, Shooting Star Dragon, and Stardust Warrior to your extra deck. And Formula Synchron, Sonic Chick, and Speed Warrior to your graveyard from outside of your deck. What? What's the benefit of this? So, Formula's obviously fine. We've got a bunch of just crap now. We've got a level 1 and a level 2 in the graveyard. I'm not really sure what the benefit of that is. Like, obviously, you know, Junk Synchron can bring back a 2, right? But it's like... In the manga, his Stardust bosses are all light. At least they get, like, 10 cards for free from outside the deck. Yeah, but, like, the cards they get aren't very good. I mean, some of them are. But, like, Junk Warrior, do we give a shit about that? I mean, some of them are okay, to be fair. Look at my DDD skill. I mean, we'll get there in a minute. We'll get there in a minute. Hey, why Speed Warrior? Why not Junk Converter? You know, because it's Speed Warrior. Who doesn't love Speed Warrior? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Speed Warrior. He's just here because he's a level 2. The same reason Sonic Chick's here is just level 1, right? So Jack Atlas skill. You can only use this skill 2nd and 3rd effects once per duel. You cannot normal or special summon monsters except Synchro monsters and level 5 or lower Dragon/Fiend monsters. Send 1 card from your hand and 1 card from your field to the graveyard. So -2. Set a level 8 Red Dragon Archfiend from your extra deck to your field. Its battle position can be changed. Okay. If only your opponent controls a monster, and you control a face-up Red Nova Dragon, set 1 Fiendish Chain from your hand or deck. Why are we just getting a free Fiendish Chain? That's so weird. That's so weird. What are you supposed to do with this? Junk Converter is a level 2 and it does more thing. I think that's the whole point though, is they don't want you to do more thing. They want you to just have a level 2 in the graveyard. Because lore. I mean, Fiendish Chain's a good card. Getting it for free is nice. It also has to be from your hand or deck. So if you just draw it into your 1 of Fiendish Chain, just get fucked, I guess. He has a line for it. That's still not a good reason to put it in the skill. I mean... gonna use Red Dragon Vase, draw 2. You can play 20 striker cards with the RDA skill. Well, you can't play Ray. Or at least you can't summon Ray. Then what? You get out Red Dragon Archfiend. And then what? You get Fiendish Chain. I don't know, what's the point? What's the point? What do you do? Yeah, but how do you win the game? So for effect 2, you can set a spell trap and send it. So 1 card from your hand and 1 card from your field to the graveyard. Yeah, it's just this card. So yeah, you can send a spell trap, right? Surely we'll get Phantom Knight's Fogblade next. Maybe. Some of the cards from the RDA structure deck search Fiendish Chain, and that's probably why it's in the skill. I mean, why not just give us those cards though, right? At that point. It just seems weird. Or at least let us like get Fiendish Chain from outside of the deck or something. I don't know. It just seems weird. I suppose it's not once per duel, right? So you can do it as many times as you want. No, 2nd and 3rd only once per duel. Yeah, so you can only do it once. I don't know. It just seems weird to me. Type Red Dragon Archfiend into DLM search. Okay, Kim. Just for you. We got Nova, we got Majestic Red, we got Assault Mode, we got Scarlight, everyone knows Scarlight. We got Hot Red, we got Red, we got Tyrant Red, we've got Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Bane. I mean, where are the ones that aren't in the game? We have Hot Red Dragon Archfiend King Calamity. I'm sure this could come out, it'd be easy fine. Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss, another really good card. Scarred Dragon Archfiend. So we've already seen Soul Resonator in the leaks. What was the other one we saw in the leaks, actually? It was Scarred. Scarred was the one that looks like we might be getting. So Scarred is, name becomes Red Dragon Archfiend while in the field or graveyard. This card is sent from the monster zone to the graveyard. You can summon a Red Dragon Archfiend from your extra deck. This card is strictly synchro summoned, and if this card was sent to the graveyard as synchro material for a dark synchro monster, you can destroy attack position monsters, which is okay. And then we saw we're getting like Golem. We also saw that we were getting Gaia. We're getting like some of these, or at least it looks like we're getting some of these. Fiendish Golem is in the database changes, so yeah, this one. Target one monster on the field with 2000 attack, and then yeah, set a Fiendish Chain. It just seems weird to like why put it in the skill if we already have cards that do it, right? You could send Bone with the skill, which doesn't mind being in the grave. True. Only one I want to say seems like something is Tri-Brigade and Springans. And Dinos? What are you doing? Dinos, mate. Dinos. Dinos. Right, let's take a look at these first. Before we get into the Dinos, we're going to look at this Fiend skill quick. So you can only use this skill's effect once or twice per duel. During the main phase, shuffle 3 monsters. Graveyard and or banish into the deck, including a Fiend monster, draw a card. So this is exactly the same skill. Just shuffle, draw a card. Then I get Dino skill 2. This skill can be used twice per duel. During your main phase, place a level 5 or higher dinosaur monster from your hand to the bottom of your deck to draw a card. Again, this is kind of just useless. Then we get into the spice. Right, here's the spice, everyone. The spice. It's funny seeing all of these leaks because speed players look like they get a lot and then they don't get half of it for ages. True. So Dino skill 3. You can only use this skill's second and third effects once per duel. You cannot normal or special summon monsters, excluding special summons from the extra deck, except dinosaur monsters. So this is awkward because, one, this now means that if you want to play like some evils, you have to basically just play the evil saws. You can't play the Eva tiles, right? Send one face-up non-dinosaur monster from your field to the graveyard. Now, how are we getting a non-dinosaur? Because we cannot normal or special summon monsters, excluding special summons from the extra deck. So now we have to summon a monster from the extra deck and then send that non-dinosaur monster from the field to the graveyard. Right? So this is very awkward. We have to somehow make something. Let's say an evil Tsar, right? So we get a dragon out. So we get like 2 level 6s or 2 level 4s. We overlay them. We get out a big boss. We spend its effect really quickly. Then we send it to the graveyard to add baby Ceratosaurus from your deck, not even from outside of your deck, from your deck to your hand. Then add 1 card, or then send 1 card from your deck, from your hand to the graveyard. So, right, so what does this do, right? Let's go through this very, very, very deliberately, very, very purposefully, right? We send a face-up non-dinosaur. We've already come to the conclusion. We have to summon something from the extra deck in order to get a non-dinosaur. Unless we have a way to change the type of a monster, right? So, at the moment, the way this looks like you were doing this is you're going to, like we say, get out an Xyz monster. And it's going to be a dragon, for example. Then we're going to send it to the graveyard in order to search baby Ceratosaurus. So we've already like invested, let's say, 2 cards into getting out an Xyz monster. So we're already like a -2. Then we're sending it to the graveyard and we're getting 1 back. So now we're back to -2. But then we also have to send a card from our hand to the graveyard, which is another -1. So it's kind of like a -3, right? It's like a -3, and you just get baby Ceratosaurus to your hand. Not even on the field, it's on the hand. I don't understand why you'd want to do this most of the time. Mind control? I mean, you're not wrong. Mind control would be a good way to do it, right? Just yoink something from your opponent. But from memory, I can't think of a good dinosaur card like in archetype that wants to do that yoinks your opponent's stuff. Because salad, pop the baby. So, the other effect, effect 3. Change the level of 1 face-up monster on either side of the field to 4. Alright, so this could be good for like making, like we say, what's the rank 4 evil card? It's Laggia. So you could use this to make Laggia. And Laggia is a good card, right? You have to make it using 2 level 4 dinosaurs. It comes out as a dragon. If a card would be normal or special summoned, or a spell trap is activated, you could detach 2 materials from this card and negate the summon activation if you destroy that card. This isn't bad, right? So you could use this to help you go into that, and then you could send a spent Laggia to use this or whatever. But if it's a monster your opponent controls, we change its type to dinosaur until the end of this turn. For the rest of this turn, you can normal summon Soul-Eating Oviraptor in addition to your normal summon set. So Oviraptor is really, really good. Now, the way you're supposed to use this card typically is you use it on your own baby, right? Use it on baby Ceratosaurus. Because its effect is, if this card is normal or special summoned, which again, we can normal summon it bonus because of the skill, you can take 1 dinosaur monster from your deck and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. Typically, you'll add it to your hand because a lot of the dinosaur cards want to be destroyed. They don't want to be sent, right? Then you could target 1 other level 4 or lower dinosaur monster on the field, destroy it. So usually we would pop our baby. Baby's effect goes off, which lets us special summon a level 4 or lower dinosaur monster from your deck, right? But in this case, we could destroy our opponent's monster. So this basically turns Oviraptor into a removal spell. Then, special summon a dinosaur-type monster from your graveyard in defense position. So we could destroy one of our opponent's monsters and then special summon something in defense, which is like not bad. But we can only use each effect of Oviraptor once per turn, so it's hard once. But it's still really good. This is still a really, really good card. Really, really good card. The issue is, what are we actually doing with the skill, bro? What are we actually doing with the skill? It's so weird. Like, genuinely, mind control or effects like that, like crackdown and stuff, might be the way to play this deck, which is so weird. I think they want you to fill the grave. That's for Misk's effect in the grave. I mean, potentially. Konami making the most confusing skill ever. Ah, yes, make every other new skill go minus instead of nerfing the salad and hero skills. That's always going to be the biggest annoyance, is it's like, oh, look at all of these fair skills. And then we compare them to, like, hero. It's just, like, gets to, like, +6 for no reason. It's like, come on. Seems like a Konami decision. It could also just be something data mined incorrect. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But don't you rather pop baby than opponent? It depends, right? You might not be in a situation where you can pop baby, right? In which case you just pop your opponent's guy. Because what you might do is like use Oviraptor to bring back baby from graveyard and then pop baby from that position, right? It depends. At least, at the very least, you can make different decisions depending on what lines you have available, right? I guess at least this effect gives you a +1 and makes your opponent go -1. Yes. This is actually not bad. Because, like, we get the free summon of Oviraptor, and Oviraptor's summon is a +1. And then we can use this to either send it to the graveyard or add to hand. If we add it to hand, we can immediately use it. But also, you can keep Baby Ceratosaurus in hand and destroy it, because you can use cards that destroy cards in hand. Such as, like, Fire King stuff, right? I was waiting for years for the new DDD stuff, and it's, again, just using bad Doom King Armageddon. I hope this at least means we get Lamia and or Necro Slime. Otherwise, extremely big, man. Well, let's take a quick look at it, right? We'll come again. Dinos are what I'm excited for. This is what I'm going to try and play, but we'll see. So Declan Akaba. So you can only use this skill's second and third effects once per duel. At the beginning of the duel, add Pendulum Zones to your field. You cannot normal or special summon excluding from the extra deck, whatever extra deck you want, except DD monsters. Reveal a Doom King Armageddon or 1 level 1 monster in your hand and 1 level 2 or lower DD monster from your deck to your hand. Okay, so we have to reveal a level 1. This is going to be what, Kepler? Which are the level 1 DDDs? So it's Kepler. It could be Lamia and it could be Necro Slime, but for the most part, it's probably going to be Kepler. Then we can add a level 2 or lower DD monster from your deck. So what are the level 2s? I mean, Swell Slime. Swell Slime's a fantastic one to grab. And this is just a free plus as well. This is a straight up plus. If only your opponent controls a monster, or you control a Doom King Armageddon, as well, this is control, so this could be face up at the Pendulum Zone as well. Set a Dark Contract card from your deck to your field. I mean, this doesn't seem bad, right? It's only once per duel, but this is a +1 and this is a +1. So you can effectively +2. And it doesn't say you can only use one per turn. So you can just use this to just like straight up +2. You get any contract and you get any level 2 or lower. Like, the only bad part of the skill, in my opinion, is once per duel, right? So the grind game of this deck is probably going to be kind of bad, but it seems like the kind of deck where you're going to go all in immediately anyway, right? You're going to try and win turn 1, turn 2. Way too fair, and again, you have to play a bad monster, and it's once per duel. I will say, when you're sat next to the dinosaur skill, this looks kind of good. Because once again, these are also once per duel. This effect is a nightmare to even get off for not much payoff, and minuses the heck out of you. This effect is actually kind of good, but this boils down to making Overraptor pop a guy. That's what this does. This skill, when you really break it down, pops a monster on your opponent's field. If you have the right cards for it. You don't have to play armor. I mean, you don't have to play Armageddon at all, right? Because you can just reveal a level 1. And this is just if your only opponent controls a monster or you control Armageddon. So you don't have to play Armageddon at all. Zwijo is 100% correct. Not even a +3, I can't. I want to say you get like 1 to 2 Synchron, RDA, DDD cards, and a bunch of Tindangle and Dino cards. I mean, probably. Yeah, people might cook with this one. There is 0% chance this will be played over the old skills. So I haven't played DDD in a long ass time. I don't really know what the old skills are. We're not using that. I'm not using that. I mean, this looks like a funny skill, not necessarily a good one. I know, I think this looks good. I think this... Alright, no, right. I'm not going to say this looks good. I'm saying this looks very playable. This looks playable. 100% this looks playable. Dino skill also double summons. I mean, it does double summon, but that doesn't plus you, right? It lets you do stuff, but it doesn't, like, give you an extra card to work with. We can reveal Veiler or Crow. I mean, you can do that. Sandford is good. I think it has potential depending on what we get. Yeah, again, it's always going to depend on the cards we get, right? It's always going to depend on the cards we get. If we get Namia and Necro, it could be okay. I mean, there's a good chance we get them, right? It's almost a little bit surprising we don't have Lamia and Necro already, to be honest. It's definitely playable for something. We played Procrastination skill. Which one's Procrastination? Is that the name of the skill? Can be used at the beginning of your turn if you have one or more Dark Contract card in your field. Skip the standby phase of this turn. This skill can only be used once per duel. That doesn't seem very good. This is just don't pay the upkeep on your contracts once. Otherwise, it's just have one specific card in hand to search one other specific card. But again, you don't need that, right? Because again, level 1 monster, so you can have Kepler. You can also have... like any other level 1, right? So you can have Kepler. You don't have to have Doom King Armageddon. But like Shui said, you can have DD Crow. You can have... is Veiler a level 1? Yeah, Veiler's a level 1. So like, you can have any of these hand traps, which you're never going to summon anyway. Because the monster you search has to be DD, but the card you reveal doesn't have to be. And then this is just any Dark Contract card. Procrastination used to not be once per duel. Ah, so you just got to never pay the upkeep. Ah, I say. You should look at Doom King as a starter, hence becomes good. But again, I don't even think you need the Doom King. Like, again, if you're going second, this effect's always going to be live anyway. Tri-Brigade skill. Let's take a look at the next skill. Let's take a look at the next one. You can only use the skill's second effect once per duel. At the start of the duel, banish Tri-Brigade Bearbrum, Bearbrum the Rampant Rampager, Ferrigit the Barren Blossom, Rugal the Silver Shelter, and Shurag the Ominous Omen from outside of your deck. You cannot normal or special summon monsters except for Fallen of Albaz, Light Spellcaster monsters, Beast, Beast Warriors, and Wing Beast monsters, and Fusion or Link monsters. Reveal one Tri-Brigade kit in your hand to send one Tri-Brigade card from your deck, from your hand to the graveyard. Okay. Then you can add a Tri-Brigade monster from your deck to your hand. Then you can play a Tri-Brigade monster from your hand to your field. What's the benefit of this? What are we doing here? So we reveal kit, so we have to have kit. It has to be kit. It can't be anything else. Then we send a Tri-Brigade card, so it could be a spell or a trap, to the graveyard. We know we have the kit, so we can just send kit if we need to. Because we're sending it because of the skill, its effect will not trigger. Then we add a Tri-Brigade monster from our deck to our hand, so we can get anything. Now, the best one is probably going to be... what's his name? This one. Fractal. It's probably going to be Fractal. I would assume it's going to be Fractal. Then we could just play the Fractal if we want straight away. And then we have another... We save the normal summon. This doesn't seem great. I don't know. My first impression is I don't really like this skill, but it might be because Tri-Brigade does a lot without a skill, so maybe you just don't need it. Abuses Golden Castle in the past. Tri-Brigade featuring Fallen of Albaz featuring Dogmatica. What the fuck, crap. It searches a Fractal / Karas. Also plays Tri-Brigade to extend. Oh, you can't play Lyrilisk Xyz or something like Herald. Oof, wait, never mind. Avian's better. Your Revolt is always live going first with the banished monsters. I mean, that's true. That's true. Only Herald isn't summonable. I don't think this skill looks like it's anything crazy. I don't think this skill's like... I'm not going to say this skill looks bad. I'm saying this skill is not click yellow button win. And I think we're at a stage in Duel Links where it feels like if you don't have click yellow button win, you're not going to do super well. I hope this does well, because I think Tri-Brigade's a really cool deck. But this hasn't blown me away. Like, this doesn't give you any kind of plussing. It doesn't... It's very restrictive. You have to have kit to get the effect off. The skill doesn't plus you in any way. It's like, I don't know about this. I like how we banish the links immediately so Revolt becomes live. I mean, yeah, that's nice. It's nice. It's a nice thing. Times played 3 Revolts. I mean, you would, right? Because if you just open one, it's going to be live. The banish links from skill probably summoned. Yeah, we can still play Sun Avalon Link 4. Out of these 3 skills, unironically, I think the DDD skill is the one that interests me the most. Like, I'm going to try and play Dinos, right? I'm going to try and play this deck. But if this deck is good or bad, it's not going to be because of this skill. It's going to be because of the cards. If this deck is going to be good or bad, it's, again, not going to be because of the skill. And then we'll go down and take a look at the last few. So we have the Subterra skill. You can only use the skill's second effects once per duel. You cannot normal or special summon, excluding special summons from the extra deck, except Subterra monsters. Reveal a level 4 Subterra monster in your hand and set a Hidden City or Subterra Final Battle from your hand or deck to your field. It can be activated this turn. If you set it from your hand, draw 1 card. Also, if you control no monsters while your opponent controls a monster, you can set 1 level 5 or higher Subterra monster from your hand or deck. That's actually kind of nuts, right? So you can just use this. Right, we can only use the second skill once. That's like the saving grace here. But this lets you reveal any level 4 Subterra. Bear in mind there aren't that many of them, but like Guru, I assume, is in Duel Links at this point, right? He's not. Do we have... Does that mean he has to be coming, or are there other level 4s? Are we meant to use Nemesis Warrior with this? Or is Guru coming? If it's just Nemesis Warrior, this is kind of eh. But, like, this skill is really good, right? Setting Hidden City. Hidden City gives you a search. So, where is it? When this card is activated, you can add a Subterra monster from your deck to your hand. This is just a 3+1 immediately. Once per turn, you can change one face down, face up. Once per turn, when your opponent's monster declares an attack, you can change one face down Subterra monster to face up attack or defense. And then you can negate the attack, which again is really, really good. All the Subterras have really broken flip effects. Getting Subterra Final Battle is also really good. This thing has like 5 effects, which is like change battle position, stop a card from getting negated, change attack and defense. It's really, really good. Guru and Hidden City incoming. Guru is probably coming. Has Guru been leaked? Probably is nowhere near good enough for me. Why did I spend all my gems? This basically means 9 copies of Hidden City if we get Guru. Yeah, but I mean basically, right? Because Guru is actually like disgusting, right? So for anyone that doesn't know. So flip, you can add a Subterra card from your deck to your hand, bearing in mind that you can go Hidden City. So any level 4 gets you Hidden City. Hidden City can then get you Guru if you don't already have it. You can then set it. You can then use Hidden City, which I believe you can use Hidden City to immediately flip it up. Once per exchange your face out position, Subterra monster you control a face up attack defense position. Yes, so you can immediately then use Hidden City to flip up Guru, which then triggers his effect, which lets you add a Subterra card from your deck to your hand, which could be, for example, Subterra Final Battle. So it just kind of all works together. The downside is, and people might see this, there already we have Shadow as a relatively competent flip monster strategy. We're getting Tindangles, which is a relatively competent flip monster strategy. And we're going to be getting Subterra as a relatively competent flip strategy. And it's not long ago that we had Ghost Trick as a relatively competent flip summon strategy. So I'm like, is this the dark age of speed? Are we just going to suddenly have a whole bunch of nothing but flip control decks? Because that could suck. That could actually suck. We got to respond to Ray there. But yeah, this seems really good. Again, the saving grace is this is only once per duel, right? But then we can also get a level 5 or higher Subterra. So I assume we're going to go for probably like Umustrix. I don't know, like the ones that aren't in the game already. Like I don't really know much about Voltelleric. I mean, I guess we'll just look at this one because it's the only one. Flip, you can target one set monster your opponent controls, take control of it. You can use the effect of it once per turn. When a face-up monster you control is flip face down. If you control no face-up monsters, you can summon this card. I think you probably still just want Umustrix, right? Target one monster your opponent controls to banish it is really good. It's just really good. Being able to set Ultramus is league toxic. Which one is this one? So you can change all other face-up monsters to face-down defense. Oh no! So the one upside, I guess, is this won't work against link decks. When a face-up monster you control is split down. If you control no other monsters, you could special summon this card. Blah 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 blah. I'm going to assume this is Ultramathus. I'm going to assume is the one we're talking about. I don't know how we win off this. Like this will interrupt our opponent to hell, but like how do we actually win? Free banish going second. Let's go. This can be negated by final battle, by the way. This can't be negated by final battle. Interesting. Thank you for the follow, Cajolfa. Welcome. I mean, I remember when Subterra was good originally in Duel Links, and it was painful to play against. I am not looking forward to this coming back. So, Null and Braver are both at limit 1. Well, I guess that's something. Do they still have 1? They got 5 in limits, right? They don't. Again, Tindangle plus Subterra, I'm not thinking this is probably going to be a good meta we're going to be going into. We'll just go over the last ones quick. So, Book of Moon. Blah, blah, blah. If your deck contains 7 or more dark monsters, from turn 2 onward, reveal a dark monster in your hand. Then shuffle 1 card from your hand into the deck. Add Book of Moon from your deck to your hand. Place Book of Moon from your hand at the bottom of your deck to draw 1 card. This is a weird skill. This is a really weird skill. And then Terrors of Overroot skill. You can only use the first effect once per duel. All its first effect. If only your opponent controls a monster, return 1 card from your hand to your deck and set Terrors of the Overroot from your hand or deck to your field. It can be activated this turn. I remember Subterra meta too. Oh, we old. Yeah, I mean, I was playing, like, when Duel Links came out. Like, not immediately at the very start. I came out in, like, set 2. It's, like, very, very early. Fuck new Orca skill. I mean, is this even, like, good for Orcust? Like, if this discarded a card, that would be fantastic, right? If this was, like, not turn 2 onwards and was, discard a card from your hand, search Book of Moon, I'd be like, yeah. You know, Orcust. You know what I'm saying? Book of Moon skill for Fluffle Orcust. The thing is, you don't really want to play Book of Moon in that deck. Like, and you kind of need the skill that it currently has, because it's important that you can dump both of the Fright Furs into the graveyard immediately. Like, it's awkward. Then we have the Springans skill. Let's take a look at this. Because, again, Springans is another deck that I'm really looking forward to playing. So, you can only activate this skill's second effect once per turn. Notice it says turn and not duel. You cannot normal or special summon monsters except Fallen of Albaz, Light Spellcaster, Springans, Fusion Xyz. So this is the once per turn. Reveal 1 Fallen of Albaz or a Springans spell trap in your hand and send Fallen of Albaz or a level 1 or 1 level 4 even Springans from your hand or deck to the graveyard. Then set 1 Springans spell trap from your hand or deck to your field. It can be activated this turn. If you sent Fallen of Albaz from your hand, you can add a Springans card from your deck to your hand. Okay. So this is very important. So if we send Fallen of Albaz from our hand, we get a double effect. We get to set a Springans spell trap from our deck, and we get to add any Springans card from our deck to our hand. So this is actually really good. And this is only once per... And Dragon Maid gets shit on if you draw downtime. I mean, you're not wrong. So this seems pretty good. So first things first, the first thing we should talk about is Springans spell traps are a bit weird. The one we're probably going to get is going to be this one, Springans Watch. So this card is very important because Great Sand Sea Gold Gorgonda is like very, very important to this deck working. But it's not a Springans card. This card does not have Springans in its name, so we can't set this. What we can do is grab Watch. Watch's effect is add Great Sand Sea Gold Gorgonda from your deck to your hand. But if we already have the Gold Gorgonda, if it's in our field zone, we can apply the second effect instead, which is add one Springans monster from your deck to your hand, and if you do, send a Springans monster from your deck to the graveyard. Now, sending Springans to the graveyard is also very important because they all have a graveyard effect to attach themselves to an Xyz monster that you control. Because the way that Springans monsters work is they're kind of like, they're reverse Xyz monsters. So what you do is you cheat out a Springans Xyz monster with no material, and then all of their graveyard effects attach them to your Xyz monsters that are out. So rather than the usual way of, you know, overlay, make a guy, and then you can use his effect the number of times equal to the number of Xyz material they have, Springans do it in reverse, where they come out with nothing, and then you start slapping stuff onto them, and they can just keep spamming their effects. So Gold Gorgonda, obviously very, very important. All Springans Xyz monsters on the field gain 1,000 attack. So that lets them kind of stick around, or like not take too much damage when they're killed. You can only use each effect of Great Sand Sea Gold Gorgonda once per turn, If you control no Springans Xyz monsters, you can discard one Springans card to special summon a Springans Xyz monster from your extra deck. So this is the very important thing, right? If you have no Springans monsters, which for the most part means you have no monsters, discard a Springans card. Again, card, so spell, trap, or monster. Special summon any Springans Xyz monster from your extra deck. So again, very, very important. We can just get out any, so we can toolbox our extra deck effectively. If a face-up Xyz monster you control leaves the field by card effect, except during the damage step, you can target one monster your opponent controls, and it cannot attack for the rest of this turn. This effect is weird, but it does come up. It does come up and can just, like, let you live for a bit. It's really good. Just skip this crap archetype, it will flop. So, alright. It's one of those things where, on paper, Springans is a competent deck. It's genuinely quite strong. The issue is, we are entering an environment that has heroes, that has salads, that is going to have very powerful Tindangle and potentially very, very powerful Subterra. In that environment, this deck might not perform as well. That being said, the deck is still really, really fun and kind of unique. So if there's no Sargus, it will flop. Champion Sargus. I mean, potentially, right? So Sargus, Champion Sargus is like fantastic, right? So this is made using 2 level 8s, but again, doesn't matter. We can just cheat it out. Or we can't actually cheat this one out because this is not a Springans monster. But once per turn, we can also Xyz summon Gigantic Champion Sargus by using a Springans Xyz monster. So we'd have to use the field spell, get out one of our others, and then overlay onto this. While this card has material, you can add a Springans or Therian card from your deck to your hand. I don't think we'll get this card because I don't think we have any Therian cards. And although this doesn't mention one specifically by name, I'm pretty sure they don't give us cards unless they specifically have targets for them, right? So the last effect of the field spell can be used if hero uses Super Poly on your Xyz monster. There we go, there we go. But this card is, if material is detached from a monster on the field, so any of your other cards, which again all have quick effects, except during the damage step, you can target one card on the field, either destroy or return it to the hand. This is a very important distinction because we do have to target, but we can get around cards that can't be destroyed, or cards that trigger when destroyed. You can only use each effect of it once per turn. Okay, that's fine, whatever. But the other cards that we do get is Explorer. So this is pretty cool. So you can choose one of your opponent's monster zones or spell and trap zones, detach any number of materials from this card. If you do, destroy the same number of cards your opponent controls in that chosen zone or its adjacent monster zones and spell or trap zones. During your opponent's main or battle phase, quick effect, you can banish this card until the end phase. So this is pretty good. The downside of this effect is we can only destroy. We can't, we can't banish, we can't send, we can't put them back in the hand, we can't put them back in the deck. They have to be destroyed. Which means if your opponent has effects that trigger on destruction, they're going to get them. If your opponent has cards that can't be destroyed by card effects, we can't destroy them. That is the big negative of this card. But basically, you get to like make a cross on your opponent's field, and you get to destroy everything that is within that cross, which is pretty cool. It's not a bad card. It's just, again, if there are lots of cards that can play around this, this is going to be a lot worse, right? Then the other Xyz monster they get is Merrymaker. I guess we'll open this in a new tab, it's hard to see there. But Merrymaker is also pretty cool. If this card is special summoned from your extra deck, you can send a Springans monster from your deck to the graveyard. During your opponent's main or battle phase, quick effect, you can banish this card until the end phase. Then if you banish this card with 2 or more Xyz materials, you can also send a fusion monster from your extra deck to the graveyard that lists Fallen Albaz as material. So the card that we want to send off of that is going to be Sprind. So Sprind the Iron Dash Dragon. This is made using Fallen of Albaz or an effect monster. For the most part, you're just going to be sending this to the graveyard, you're not going to be making it. During your main phase, you can move this card you control. That doesn't matter. It's the rest of the effect that we want, right? During the end phase, if this card is in the graveyard, because it was sent there this turn, which again, if we send this with Merrymaker, it does work, we can add to your hand or special summon a Springans or a Fallen of Albaz from your deck. So a free special summon of the guy. Now, the main card we're probably going to be summoning is going to be one of these two. It's probably going to be regular Sargas, but it also could be Branga. So regular Sargas is a high-level monster with 2800 defense, which is, it's fat butt. If this card is in your hand, field, or graveyard, you can target a Springans X monster you control attached to the card as material. This is the generic effect that all Springans have. During your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can detach one material from an Xyz monster you control, target one face-up card on the field, and destroy it. Now, again, this is awkward because it only destroys. And if we can only destroy, that's very limited, right? If your opponent can't be destroyed by card effects, if your opponent, can't be targeted, if your opponent has an effect that's going to trigger, that's going to be negative for us, we can't get around it. But we can only use the previous effect of it once per turn. So it also does have the nice little benefit of giving any of your Xyz monsters that this card is attached to as an Xyz material 500 attack, which is like nice, but it's like eh. So you can use the jump effect to negate an attack with the field spell. Yes, you can. Explorer seems pretty good in Duel Links, 3 zones and all. I mean, potentially, there will always be 2 areas you can't hit. And then obviously the extra monster zone has to be taken into account as well. Only way to negate an attack is when you're changing attack stats, which there isn't any. When we're changing attack stats, what we talked about the field spell one. If a face-up Xyz monster you control leaves the field by card effect, except during the damage step, you can target one monster your opponent controls that it cannot attack for the rest of the turn. Is that one we're talking about? Springans might be better than we thought. I think, again, Springans are like, they're not bad, right? They're not a bad deck. The question is going to be, are they good enough to fight against the current meta and the meta that's going to be out when they do come out? That is a big fat question mark. Because these cards in a vacuum are great, right? Like Sargass is really, really good. Even the small Sargass is good. Explorer is good. Golgogonda's good. Merrymaker's good. Like a lot of these cards, they're good cards. It's just, are they good enough, right? You're basically going to play this as like a control strategy. Realistically, you're not going to be like, I mean, maybe you can blow up your opponent's board and just go in for the kill, but I think it's going to be very like few and far between it's going to happen. So anyway, draw phase, book. Draw phase, book, man, Springans suck. I mean, you're not wrong. You can only do this during the main or battle phase. You're not wrong. I can't defend that. Yeah, the last effect on field spells shouldn't be underrated, I feel. We had people playing Necro Gardener. True. Seems like all the Albez decks are going to be playable and fun, but not too competitive. It depends, right? Like, if people aren't playing... It depends on what the meta looks like. If people are all on Book of Moon, if people are playing, you know, like Chalice, if people are playing anything like that, then yes, Springans are going to be in a bad way. If they're not playing those cards, though, if you don't have a quick play spell card specifically to turn off their effects, they're really good. I feel like I like the idea that the field spell is too important for the deck. You're not wrong, but you can search it every turn, effectively, right? Which is kind of nice. They do also get the Wormy. Where's the Wormy? Wormy up here. Looks like he's not here. Wait, fine. We can go backwards. We can go backwards in time. Whoa. This guy. So we're probably going to get this. Supreme Sovereign Serpent of Golgonda, which is pretty good. While Great Sand Sea Golgonda was on the field, this card's original attack becomes 3,000. You can only use each of the following effects of it once per turn. When this card is in your hand or graveyard, if you control a face-up card in your field zone, you can summon this card, banish it, leaves the field. If Great Sand Sea Golgonda on the field would be destroyed by card effects, you can banish monster from your graveyard instead. I don't think this card's very good. Maybe there's like something cute you can do with it, but realistically, I don't think this is very good. But it's nice that it's there. The big issue we might have is that we're not, by the look of this, we're not going to be getting many Springans cards, which might make the deck very kind of like not diverse enough, I suppose. Because like if you look here, we don't even have Merrymaker. If we don't get Merrymaker, this deck's going to be kind of weak. We also get Springans Call, which is target a Springans monster or Fawn of Abaz in your graveyard, special summon it. During the main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you could banish this card and add one fusion monster from your graveyard. Then target a Springans Xyz monster you control. Attach one fusion, list form of Abaz material from your X deck. It's... if we're being completely honest. So we are getting Merrymaker. Merrymaker was here, that's right. So at least that's something. Brothers is okay as well. Are we even getting Booty? Because Booty's another way to get your field spell back from the graveyard. So like it's not too bad to get that. Kind of feels like Gemini with Ablation. Yeah, I can kind of see that. Are we getting Rendezvous as well, actually? I mean, I'm still going to play the deck, right? Even if it's bad, I'll still build it, I'll play it, because it's a deck that I really like. And if anything happens with it, I'll be quite happy. I think there is potential. I think there is potential for Springans. Is it going to, like, be a tier 1 meta threat? No, like, realistically not. But this could be, like, low tier 3 or rogue, and, like, perform okay, I think. But. Now, we want to talk a little bit about the dinosaur cards that we're going to be getting. Because we know we're getting some dinosaur cards. We don't know necessarily exactly which ones. So if we go back in time, we can see some of the cards that were leaked previously. So we've already got some of these already. Is any of these other ones dinosaurs down here? I don't know if there were. There's Muddy Mud Dragon who was in the other set of leaks as well. None of this, I think, matters. This is just like the old leak stuff, so that doesn't matter either. But this was the October leaks. So this is one of the ones where we had a bunch of cards shown off, but we never actually got to see any of them come out. I think it would be playable, but I don't know how good. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it as well. Would be cool if it becomes like a tier 3 deck or strong rogue deck. I mean, that's kind of what I'm hoping for. Quantum's doing anti-meta today. That will be a fun watch. It'll be interesting to see what performs well in anti-meta, I'll tell you that much. But so we're expecting to get Archosaur. Archosaur is really good. If this card is normal or special summoned, which again you can get off of the effect of like Overraptor, for example, you can destroy one dinosaur monster in your hand. So this is also really good to get rid of the baby from your hand. Then add a reptile, sea serpent, or winged beast monster with the same original level as that destroyed monster, or one evolution pill spell from your deck to your hand. Now, this card's cool, but the deck won't really want to be playing anything other than dinosaurs because of how the skill works. And when we take a look at our evolution pill cards, we only have one copy of double evolution pill. If we had more copies of this card, I think this would be a lot better, but only having one copy of this kind of sucks. But this is banish a dinosaur monster and one non-dinosaur monster from your hand and or graveyard, special summon a level 7 or higher dinosaur monster from your hand or deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. Which is pretty good. This gets to ultimate. Yeah, but the issue is we don't have like UTC as like a big payoff, right? Which like kind of sucks. Tomato, if we get Final Bringer of the End Times, might be playable in Dino. Which one's Final Bringer of the End Times? Final Bringer. We are getting this, right? Target one monster you control and one card your opponent controls, destroy them. Potentially. The issue is, you don't really want to be, like, summoning out your guys and then popping them if you can help it. You really want to be, like, destroying them from hand if you can, by using things like Archosaur. The other flip side is that it can't be used going first, because your opponent's going to have any cards. So then we have Bear Rock Dragon. If a monster you control or in your hand is destroyed by card of battle, battle or card effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. It's level 6, which is like the only thing that's pretty good about this card. If this card is only possession destroyed by an opponent's card, target another dinosaur monster and or rock monster in your graveyard, summon them. You can use the effect of once per turn. Big air. Then we get to the Doodle Beast. Doodle Beasts are really cool. I really like the Doodle Beasts. I don't know if the Doodle Beasts are going to be very good, but I think they're a cool deck. So this one is, if you control no monsters, or all monsters you control dinosaurs, you can special summon this card from your hands. This is like, you know, it's a Cyber Dragon type effect. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can add a Doodle Book spell trap from your deck to your hand, then discard one card. So it's very fair, it doesn't actually plus you. And the card you're going to be adding is going to be Doodle Book So when your dinosaur monster is targeted for an attack, negate the attack. Then you could special summon a Doodle Beast monster from your graveyard, and if you do, it cannot be destroyed a battle, but destroy it during the end phase of this card in your graveyard, except during the turn it was sent there. You can banish it, add one level 5 or higher dinosaur monster from your deck to your hand. So it's the second effect is the good bit of this. The first effect is like cute, but it's like not anything crazy. And then Tyranno is actually kind of interesting. Do we have any DDD in the old or new leaks? I don't know. We can have a look in a minute. We can have a look. But Tyranno is a pretty cool one. So you contribute some of this card by tributing one dinosaur monster during the main phase. So anyone's main phase, including your opponent. If a dinosaur monster is on the field, quick effect, immediately after this effect resolves, tribute summon this card from your hand. And then if this card is normal summoned, you can destroy a monster on the field. Then if it was normal summoned by tributing a Doodle Beast, gains attack equal to half the attack of the destroyed monster. So this is basically like a quick effect pop if we have a face-up dinosaur on our field during the main phase only. It's, again, it's nothing like crazy, right? But it's fine. Realistically, it's kind of interesting. Again, I really like the Doodle Beasts. I don't know if they'll be, like, good. Looking at DDD stuff, I don't think we've seen any DDD stuff. Let's have a quick peek. Let's have a quick look through all the past stuff. I'm not seeing any. Yeah, it's looking like nothing's been leaked from what I can see. No, I'm not seeing any DDDs. Not seeing any DDDs. Is this the Metaphor Refantasio OST? You know it is. You know it is. Dodo Beast is so funny to play in Dino. So fun to play in Dino. Yeah, I think it's really cool. Plus, the cards just look awesome, bro. They're literally like doodles of dinosaurs. What's not to love? So then we have stuff like Flower Dino. So must be special summoned by its own effect. You can only use each of the following effects of Flower Dino once per turn. If you activate a trap card or effect, or if your opponent activates a spell card or effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. Neat. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target 3 banished spell traps, place them on the bottom of the appropriate deck in any order, then draw a card. I don't know if there's probably some like really cute combo you can do with this, but this isn't gonna like work in the generic like build of the deck, I don't think. Metaphor is a really good game. Yes, it is. It's absolutely fantastic. I want to play this game so bad. Next box in 2 months, Tier 0 Rescue Ace. I mean, potentially, could be. So then we get to the Transcendosaurus. So these cards are a bit weird. These cards are very much all about destroying cards in like hand and stuff. So cannot be normal summoned a set. Must be special summoned by card effect. During your opponent's turn, quick effect, you could destroy 2 other dinosaur monsters in your hand and or field. If you do, special summon this card from your hand. So quick effect to just trigger a bunch of other dinosaurs that get activated when they're destroyed. If this card is special summoned, you can send a dinosaur monster from your deck to the graveyard. Okay, that's nice, just a foolish burial. If this card is destroyed, you can shuffle a normal monster. This is something that all of these Transcendosaurus have, which is they all have like normal monster effects, which is a bit weird. But 1 normal monster from your graveyard into the deck, and then you could special summon this card. So this guy gets to come back. He's a 3500 attack guy, which is pretty okay. So then we go down to, we have a bunch of volcanic stuff. We have Xenometeorus. So this is a level 6. If a card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. During your main phase, you can destroy 1 dinosaur monster in your hand or field, and special summon 1 dinosaur normal monster from your hand or deck. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except dragons, dinosaurs, sea serpents, and worms. So another card that just like destroys cards, right? Which again is like fine. Other than that, there's like nothing else too crazy. We have Zatomosaurus, but this card is also not very good. It just lets you destroy one of your own cards. I don't know why you play that when you have other cards that do the same thing but better. Then going back in time again, even further back to... Where are we now? We're in... This is September's leaks. So we have Beta Evolution Pill. Tribute 2 monsters from your hand and or field, including a dinosaur monster. Special summon a level 5 or higher dinosaur monster from your deck or extra deck, with an equal or higher attack than the total attack of those tributed monsters. Also, for the rest of this turn, after this card resolves, you cannot special summon monsters to the extra deck except dinosaurs, sea serpent, worms, blah, 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 blah. So, tribute 2 monsters from hand or field. Okay. Has to at least include a dinosaur monster. Special summon a level 5 or higher from deck or extra deck, so it can be, you know, an extra deck monster or a main deck monster, with equal or higher attack than the total attack of the tributed monsters. So again, some cute stuff you can do with this, right? I think this card was used to summon Evos or Lars. That was also leaked. Yes, it was. Indeed it was. This allows dinos to summon level 10 Synchro / rank 6 easily. I don't see any DDD cards leak, so next update after Yuri. Oh no, the Andrew Tate bill. Oh no! The next up we have, this is Reptile. We have the double-headed Dino King Rex. This is the retrain of Twin-Headed King Rex, right? If you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. Okay, Cyber Dragon. You can only special summon double-headed Dino King Rex once per turn. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can target 1 monster on the field with less attack than the total attack of all dinosaur monsters you control and destroy it. This is kind of whatever. Right? You can't do this as a quick effect. You just kind of get to like summon it out and then pop a guy. Which is like... it's whatever, I guess. The one thing this has got going for it is it's level 6. And you could summon this off of like a pill or something. Like have it immediately jump onto the field, pop something, and then use it as a body. To like do like a rank 6 play. Then we have Grenosaurus Giga Cannon. This card's really funny. And there might be some cheese you could do with it. So 2 level 4s. When your dinosaur monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle and send it to the graveyard, you can detach 1 material from this card to inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent. Then we gain 1,000 attack. So we go up to 32. We burn our opponent for 1,000. If this Xyz card is destroyed, you can target 1 card on the field and destroy it. And if you do, inflict another 1,000 damage. So like, if you get both these effects off, that's just like 2,000 burn damage you're threatening your opponent with. Like, there could be something like super gimmicky here, but like, I don't know. Is it funny because he fires a laser beam from his stomach? I mean, that's added bonus there. That's not really the main reason though. Then we have Hornsaurus, made using Kaito Terra and a dinosaur dragon. Level 6 again, so there are some level 6 like Xyz monsters, so this can come up. This card can attack directly during the turn it was summoned. Again, 2,000 attack, can attack directly, okay. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. If this card is fusion summoned, you can place a field spell from your deck or graveyard face up in your field zone. Now, one thing I don't think we have seen leaked is the dinosaur field spell. What is it called? Something world. Is it Dinosaur World? Dinosaur Kingdom? Maybe? Lost World? Lost World, here it is. So this is the card. I don't believe this card's been leaked anywhere. But all monsters on the field lose 500 attack defense against dinosaurs once per turn. If a dinosaur monster is normal special summoned, you can special summon a token to your opponent's defense position. When your opponent controls a token, they cannot target monsters on the field with card effects of tokens. Once per turn, if a normal monster on the field will be destroyed or battled by card effect, you destroy that many dinosaur type monsters in your hand or deck instead. So we don't have this yet, I don't think. So the field spell part of this is a little bit awkward. But the other effect, during your main phase, you can immediately after this effect resolves, normal summon a dinosaur or dragon monster. So like that's neat. And the card that we will be using to summon it is the Kaito Terra. This is the fusion material. If your opponent controls 2 or more face-up monsters except wind monsters, those monsters cannot target this card for an attack. You can only use each of the following effects at once per turn. During your main phase, you can add a polymerization from your deck to your hand. If this card is banished, you can special summon it. You can add polymerization from your graveyard to your hand. It could set any field spell, even Summon Breaker. Oh no. No! No! So next up we have Jurassic Power. It's not like anything crazy. We can grab a dinosaur that has 1200 defense. Like, I'm not even sure which dinosaurs have 1200 defense. I'm pretty sure there aren't that many of them. I think actually Doodle Beasts might, or one of the Doodle Beasts might. Of course we messed that up. Dinosaur, then defense, 1200, and then defense, 1200. So we can get back Dogoran. We can get back Giant Rex. We can get back. We're not going to get Hyper Hammerhead, are we? We could get back Doodle Beast Tyranno. We can get Double-Headed King Rex. So, like, there are some good cards we can grab with this, right? Like, Giant Rex is obviously a good one. That's going to be a pretty much a staple. We got a Kaiju. We can get this. So, like, there is, like, stuff we can do with it. Being able to search a Kaiju is kind of good, right? Just having, like, a free search of a Kaiju could be pretty nice for the dinosaurs. This guy also has 1200 defense, the Mighty Dino King Rex. So if this attacking card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can make a second attack during the battle phase. Once per turn, if you control this card that was not special summoned this turn, you can target 2 monsters your opponent controls and destroy them. Which again is an okay effect, but I think that restriction on the second part makes it kind of mid to bad. Crawling in my skin dragon number 2. True. So anyone saw Rush top 100? I never seen 100 copy of the same deck. You know, they weren't all the exact same deck. They were the same skill. They weren't all the same deck. So then we've got Transcendosaurus. Oh boy, how do we pronounce this? Drillinathus. So 2 level 6s. While this card has no materials, if it battles a monster, any battle damage to your opponent is doubled. You can only use each effect once per turn. You can detach one material from this card, target one of your banished dinosaurs and special summon it. Okay, that's not bad. If this card is destroyed, you can shuffle one normal monster from your graveyard into the deck and then special summon this card. So it's the kind of Transcendosaurus effect, like generic effect. UCT. We haven't got Ultimate Conductor Tyranno leaked yet though, so we don't think we're getting it, which kind of sucks. Just call him Drilly. Good old Drilly. So then we have Transcendosaurus Exoraptor. So mages and 2 dinosaurs. If this card is special summoned, you can special summon 1 dinosaur monster from your hand. If a face-up dinosaur monster this card points to. Now, this guy's arrows are a bit awkward. So it's not going to be easy to get this guy to point to dinosaurs. But whenever they get destroyed, you can draw a card. If this card is destroyed, you can shuffle a normal monster from your graveyard into the deck. Then blah, 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 blah. And then we have Gigant Zowler, which is like Mega Zowler's like daddy. It's already leaked years ago. It's in the database. Ooh. Be interesting to see if we do get it then. Because if we do, it'll definitely be a box you are, won't it? I hope they update the card trader because I have 0 MISC or DDD cards. I mean, it would be really, really nice, right? I have 2 MISC, I think, on my speed account. So like, I'm almost there, I guess. So this is made using a dinosaur and a normal. If this card is special summoned, you can target a dinosaur from your graveyard, add it to your hand. Then if this card was special summoned from your graveyard, you can destroy 2 cards. 1 from your hand or field, and 1 card your opponent controls. If this card is destroyed, you can shuffle 1 normal monster from your graveyard into the deck, then you can special summon this card. So this card's actually kind of good, because you can use it to like pop 2 cards, or you can just use it to plus. And it's a 3800 guy. And look at all those stars, it's got to be good, right? I hope they update the car. UCT has been in the game for a long time. I hope they don't release it though, and let some of the other dinos shine. I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. If it does come out, the deck will become Ultimate Conductor Tyranno Turbo the deck. Right, that is what the deck will be. UCT is a tag deal card long ago, probably coming next box. And then we have Glaciosaurus, which is like, cool. The issue is, I don't even know what tuners you would run in this deck. Obviously, you can just summon it with like Ultrascendence, so like there's that. Dinosaur monsters you control special summon from the graveyard can be destroyed by card effects. Also, your opponent cannot target the card effects. If this card is destroyed, you can blah 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 blah. It's just a big old tower to protect you guys, which is nice. But then we've got to go even further back. So this is August. These are August leaks. This is like before we got Ecclesia. This is before we got all the Curse of Dragon, the Magical Dragon Knight. But here we did see Lars get leaked. And Lars is obviously really good. It's made using 2 level 6s. While this card has material, your opponent cannot target with monster effects. When your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you can attach 2 materials from this card, or just 1 material if all this card's materials are reptiles and or dinosaurs. Target 1 face-up card your opponent controls to negate its effects. So Lars is obviously really, really good. And I would expect this to be part of the dinosaur end board, depending on what cards we get, right? Use it to destroy baby Ceratosaurus. Yo, Tomato, what leaks? What have seen so far? I just got on. Hello, Desmume. You've kind of caught us towards the tail end. We've kind of just gone over all the leaks. The big stuff is that we got like Exo Sisters. We got Rescue Ace stuff. Some other like interesting stuff. We got the skills showing that we're getting Tindangles. We're getting the Yusei skill, the Jack Atlas skill. We're getting Dinosaurs finally. We're getting new DDD. We're getting Tri-Brigade. We're getting Subterra. And we're getting Springans. That's kind of the big stuff. That's the big stuff. That's the big stuff. Transcend level 6 main is a tuner. I see. It's Transcend. I don't know if we're actually going to summon that though. How people don't fear the level 12 Subterra, but they fear Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, even though they share the same effect. Nah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Xenosaur. Which one's Xenosaur? Well, I don't know what Xenosaur is. Neither does the database, apparently. We got Xeno Meteorus. He exists. Ground Xeno. Is that Hikari in the chat? Just came back from work. How is it going? Hello, hello, Hikari. We're doing good. We've just literally been going over the leaks. We've just been yapping this entire time. We didn't really have a lot to say about the Rush stuff. I know that Hikari is a Rush player, so probably only really cares about this and nothing else. But we've just literally been talking about dinosaurs, we've been talking about Springans, we've been talking about Subterras, we've been talking about all the different bits and bobs. Now, obviously, I play very casually. I might, depending on how good the dinosaur deck is to play, and I guess Springans by extension, we might try and enter a couple of tournaments for fun in speed, because we do like playing speed. But for the most part, we just kind of play ladder. But it would be really fun to take one of these decks to a tournament. I did play Fluffle in a couple of tournaments and actually did okay. Like, we didn't do astronomically bad on the Fluffle in tournaments, but it always felt like the Fluffle deck, it could win games against anything, but it felt like it never was like crazy consistent. It was missing a lot of like good end board pieces. Like, obviously its turn 2 was really good, but its turn 1 was kind of like Dweller Pass a lot of the time and kind of try and end with a like a Scythe, so you can summon out Cruel Well during your opponent's turn, but like, eh. The difference between UTC kills your opponent at the same time. People don't read sub. They don't know about Ultramus. I mean, the one that I always remember is Almostrix, but yeah, I didn't know about Ultramus at the time. But if we get Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, right? This card, bro, this card. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Must first be special summoned from your hand by banishing 2 dinosaur monsters from your graveyard. So it's a chaos monster. You just summon it very easily. Once per turn, during either player's main phase, you can destroy 1 monster in your hand or field, and if you do, change all face-up monsters your opponent controls to face-down defense position. This card can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each. At the start of the damage step, if this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent, and if you do, send that defense position monster to the graveyard, which is so good. It's so good. No, I'm late. Did we talk about Rush already? Yes, we've already talked about Rush, oh, Toti. You've missed it. You've missed it all. How dreadful. They need to learn the hard way. I'm a little bit worried about the speed meta. If Subterra is actually good, if Tindangles is actually good, like either of these skills, like I just feel like it's going to be such a meh time. Fine, I'll watch the VOD. I mean, we will also upload the VOD to YouTube as well, if you prefer watching it on YouTube. UTC, best waifu material, thickest dino. Yeah, that is an opinion. That is an opinion. You talked about Zwijo without me? Of course we did. I can't keep the audience waiting for you, Hikari. If you wanted to listen, you should have been here on time. Honestly. How dare you just go to work? Disgusting. I mean, if you want our footnotes, I don't think this skill is very good. We were predicting the other card we thought we could get, and we basically thought it was going to be one of the other bosses. Probably... I almost think they don't want to give us Hecaton Chair, because they haven't given us any 2600 defense monsters yet. And I can't help but wonder if that's deliberate, because they don't want stalling. Now, 2500 is exactly the same as 2600 realistically, but nobody's been stalling with them, so maybe 26 just doesn't matter. I would let UTC step on me. Jesus. Okay. That's one way to go. That's one way to go. What we should really do as well is have our chat over this, but I guess it doesn't really. But now, we're kind of done, right? We've kind of gone over everything. We've gone over all the leaks. We talked about all the different stuff. We talked about Springans, like how much I really want to play this deck. We talked about Dinosaurs and how much I really want to play this deck. That's kind of it. And I don't really think it's worth jumping into doing anything else. So we're probably just going to call it here, to be honest. We're probably just going to, like, find someone to raid and dump you off somewhere else. I mean, How streaming. We could go and raid How. I think that's probably a good shout, right? So we'll go ahead and start that up, and then we will start doing our little bits and bobs. I don't think it's worth, because I've only got another like 20 minutes before I'm going to be busy anyway. So I think it is best we just probably end it here. But we had a great time. We got to yap, and we love yapping. We got to talk about dinosaurs. We're going to talk about Springans. We're going to talk about all the new leaks. We're going to talk about Dark Galaxy and the new Rush stuff. And we're hopefully going to get a hold of a lot of these cards very, very soon. We will be back again on Thursday. I'm not entirely sure what we're going to be doing on Thursday, but we'll definitely be doing something, right? We'll definitely be doing something interesting. It will either be Rush or Speed, or it'll be one of those two. But We will be back on the Thursday. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Maybe Photons and number 90 Photon Lord.